Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to VIS, bringing you VISPRO tonight. And of course, it is the finals night between Cloud9 and Hammers Velocity. I'm joined tonight by Tasty Bacon, and for the first time, another debut caster, first time to Vainglory, it is Jack Jaws Wright. Jack, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you very much, man. I'm super excited to get into these games. Both these teams looking so strong coming into this one. And I want to see some good Vainglory action, man. This is a best of 5. A lot of things can happen. And I want to see some interesting drafts as well.
Absolutely. So, Tasty Bacon, we have been waiting, kind of anticipating up to this final moment. Yesterday's semifinals were absolutely thrilling, and of course we're finally able to come over, and today here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the matchup that everyone's been waiting for. It is of course Cloud9, that exciting new roster for Cloud9 going up against the new roster for Hammers Velocity. Now these new rosters may be new for these orgs, but they are not new to the people who've been following the competitive scene for some time. And Tasty, let's talk a little bit about Hammers Velocity and kind of what we've seen so far.
Well, I mean, we've seen some very impressive performances from this Hammers Velocity squad. Again, so many question marks were surrounding this team coming into this split of VISPRO, but they have answered every single one of those questions phenomenally well, being able to not only pick up a victory in the first round against, a relatively unknown team that was didn't really answer too many questions in the round number 1, especially being the only team that dropped a game in the first round. But then round number 2, taking on Kinetic, which was essentially the former Hammers Velocity squad, able to defeat them handily. And then, of course, yesterday, we all saw them toppling the giants of North America, taking out Team Solo Mid in order to earn themselves this spot in the finals. It's kind of been characterized by incredibly aggressive gameplay, which is sort of counter to what we've seen from a lot of teams here. Sorry, got to silence the animals back here. But very aggressive, very quick games. We saw them actually win a game in 12 minutes against Team Solo Mid.
Yeah, I mean, they've really brought out that kind of rare aggressive playstyle that 2.0 has put a little bit of a damper on, and it's just not been the same since that update. But this team seems to be one of the few teams that have kind of found a way to make it work. Of course, Jaws, you coming in here, this is your first time. I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but I think you've done a little bit of your research. So what are some of the things you'd most exciting to see, or you'd be most excited to see coming out from this young team? Anything particular, or some of the compositions that you've seen specifically that you'd like to see implemented here tonight?
Well, both these teams, realistically, I want to see something out of both of them. We've seen a lot of Lance bans coming through, and it'll be kind of interesting to see if either one of those teams wants to kind of pick that one up, because he's such an amazing captain and roamer, and having either one of their captain players come on him, I can just see just immense things from him. And I really want to see Old School actually on the Vox pick as well, because he's been playing a little bit of Vox recently. And coming out from him, he's kind of a staple in the kind of competitive scene at this current time. And just being so young as well, he's got so much time to develop. But some of these heroes he's picking up they're just out of this world, honestly. I've been watching him play much better than me, of course, at least. And I mean, for Hammers, you look at them, 2 kind of experienced players, right? But then you've got starting all over. Really young player. Again, a lot to kind of prove, a lot to kind of build upon from there. So I want to see some really aggressive play from him, because, a really aggressive team coming out from Hammers and coming up against Cloud9, and like we were discussing a bit earlier, just a little bit of a slower paced team. So I want to see them just hit the early aggression, just put it on the gas pedal, and see what they can get out of the early stage of the game.
Yeah, you talked about Old School playing Vox. Vox, at least in North America, has really surged in the meta. A specific build composition, it is that Sorrow Blade and Double Tyrant's Monocle we see played a lot, or I believe it may be, yeah. And, so if he could get on the Vox, that would definitely be a pick that I think he could work well with. But we've also seen Starting All Over prioritize either Ringo or Vox in his matches. So that's another player that really loves that hero as well. So I really think that you're going to see both these teams looking to try to get one of those 2 picks. And, Tasty, looking at Cloud9 and how they've managed in the drafts, it seems like they have a better game plan for when those picks are taken off the table. because their hero pool just seems to be so wide in the lane.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen a lot of different heroes be able to be picked up. Between Ringo, Vox, Baron have, of course, been the three primary heroes that we've been seeing thus far. But there's still a lot of flexibility. We know that the hero pool goes even deeper than just those three. So it's tough to try and figure out, what do you actually want to take away from them, because there's so many different things that they are incredibly talented with.
Absolutely, and we just got the draft in, so we are going to get going into game number 1 here and get this started, but it's really interesting. I don't know if you kept an eye on it, Tasty, because it's definitely a little bit different than I thought it would be, and it looks like Hammer's Velocity has really done their homework.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an exciting one. The Koshka banned away first, followed by the Vox, and you'll see the rest of the draft play out. But Adagio first pick. Kind of interesting to see that priority put onto Adagio.
Well, yeah, the Adagio being picked up here, as well as obviously the Finn and Lance coming out from Cloud9. That's a really heavy CC composition, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And CC is king, right? That's where you got to win games with. And coming into it, like I said, I wanted to see someone play Lance. They are going to pick that one up, but coming up against someone like a Ringo, and they have actually played this. The Hammers, I believe, have actually played this exact competition before. In the best of 16, they've played the Glaive, they've played obviously Ringo and Arden there as well, and I want to see them. This is clearly a competition they've practiced, right? So I want to see them actually show their experience using this set 3 hero pool and really push their way to victory there. But I'm really interested in seeing starting all over, like I mentioned before, really aggressive player, a young guy, and I want to see him go ham on this Ringo in lane, because you can really just bullet out an Adagio, but if he doesn't get the support, I mean, Finn, Lance, they're going to be on top of you.
Yeah, well, it's old school on the Adagio, and everyone that has watched old school play Adagio in the past knows that this is a massive threat. Yesterday, we saw him go up, was it 30-40 CS over Iraqi Zoro, who was playing a Ringo into that matchup, but starting all over, obviously, an extremely talented laner as well, and we'll see how that particular matchup is going to go. So keep your eyes on those CS numbers between those two laners. But right now, Chicken123 and Gabe Vizzle having a little bit of a captain's duel there in the jungle, but looks like Hammers, they're going to get the jump on this jungle, starting up this Ancient Treant.
Yeah, they are going to go towards it. They're going to put it to their side as well, which is going to be really handy. The gold did not go over to Gabe Vizzle. Good try, though. It did actually, I believe it went over to Chicken. I'm not entirely sure. I think the rebound, yeah, it did actually go over to Chicken. So that's going to be a really nice start for him, actually. A little bit of XP. And already you can see Tigers, he's making his way towards this mid to the lane as well. And I want to see, you mentioned obviously old school, just very prolific on this Adagio pick, and I want to see him come up against Ringo, because you can already see he's going to get jumped on, does get stunned up in fact, and Tigers is going to make his way up there as well, and just bullying him out of the lane. I think that's the key to victory, at least for Hammers in the early stage of the game.
Oh, absolutely. You have to take advantage of the strength of this Glaive, being able to make those kinds of aggressive plays up in the lane, but with a Finn there, and just the fact that it is Adagio, it's going to be really tough to actually bully old school out of this lane. He's obviously going to be getting the fortified health from the Finn, and then being able to heal himself with the Gift of Fire makes it extremely difficult to force an Adagio out of lane when he doesn't want to be. And then, of course, you have to worry about Isle of Joseph coming through on this Lance. It's another very aggressive early game jungler, but Isle of Joseph has been playing rather passive here in the first couple minutes.
Yeah, he has. He's kind of just stuck around his own jungle camps here, hasn't he? He's just kind of, I'm going to farm up a little bit, just make sure I can get ahead of Tigers in the jungle, and then see what I can, what I can do. A bit more presence in the lane, and here he comes up just now. Does get a nice stun into the wall. Starting all over, just in a little bit of trouble. I'm not sure he's got any potions left, so he's going to have to be a little bit more careful now, and you can see just the sustain war already from Cloud9 just coming up big for them. Although Finn is going to go in, Tigers is going to go really low as well. Beautiful first blood coming through actually from the Ringo. Tigers is going to get traded up as well. Adagio is going to pick up that kill. Old school already making a name for himself in that lane, but the first blood gold will go over to the Ringo there.
Yeah, really heads up play from T-Tigers. As soon as Isle of Joseph missed that Impale, which is that high risk of the Lance. If you don't connect with the Impale, you get stuck there for a few for a second or two. That's exactly what happened. Went a little bit too far forward with the Impale, didn't connect, left him vulnerable. T-Tigers jumps in, afterburns him underneath the turret. Great job taking advantage for that first blood.
Well, yeah, speaking about jumping in, Chicken is in a little bit of trouble here as well. Old School's going to be able to chase him out, and I really like what Cloud9 did there as well. They, they picked up a kill, they traded in the lane, and went, you know what, straight to your treant. I'm going to take one of those as well, just taking it away from Tigers. And you can see now both of them near the Elder treant as well. Both Cloud9 and Hammers, they both have 1 kill apiece at this moment. And Tasty, at this current time, where do you see Old School kind of, what kind of build path do you see him going?
Almost certainly going to be a crystal path for the Adagio. It just makes the most sense, but right now he's going to get afterburn.
Okay, he is going to get afterburn, go straight in, health bar just ticking so low, and there it goes, starting all over yet again with another kill. Just take a little bit of tower aggro, however, and they are just going to chase I Love Joseph, making sure he knows his place now. Gabe Vizzle, unfortunately, not going to be able to do all too much. Starting all over, using that aggression in the early game with that Ringo, really coming up trumps here for Hammers.
Yeah, and T-Tigers again setting up another kill for the side of Hammer's Velocity. This is something that we've seen him do numerous times. Just go in aggressively, setting up kills for starting all over so that starting can carry with this Ringo. It's been a very popular duo thus far throughout VISPRO is the Ringo and Glaive for Hammer's Velocity, and you can see T-Tiger's already getting himself set up for that Storm Crown build. It's pretty much, I think, every Glaive that we have seen thus far has gone for this Storm Crown Aftershock, that massive amount of engage burst and getting a ton of cooldown as well onto the Glaive, so you can use that Afterburn as frequently as possible. But with Old School finishing off that first item, it means he is going to become a much larger threat going forward. I Love Joseph and the rest of Cloud9 rotating on down, perhaps looking for a fight, but they're not going to find anything here.
No, they're just going to get spotted out by the flare there, so they're going to have to back off. They do use the flare as well, just to make sure they know exactly where Hammer's Velocity are, although Chicken, maybe wandering a little bit too far in, does manage to get away. However, you've really got to be careful. Obviously, I Love Joseph on that Lance, not level 6 yet, so hasn't got the combat role, just an added bit of mobility there for him. However, Old School getting jumped on yet again. Ringo just doing so much damage, starting all over. He's going to have to retreat, though, as Finn obviously coming through the lane, and I Love Joseph as well on that Lance does get the root. And the Githian wall straight in on T-Tigers. However, nothing going to be picked up just yet.
Yeah, very fortunate for Old School that he was running away because T-Tigers got that afterburn through, but knocked him farther away from the team. If T-Tigers just a little bit further in when that afterburn comes down, Old School gets knocked into the team, and that's another easy kill. As it stands, you can see just that sustain from Adagio and going down, stealing that treant, keeps the entire team of Hammers topped off.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting there, actually. Starting all over, complete aggressive pathing from him. Just kind of walked towards Cloud9's tower and said, yeah, it's probably not a good idea to be here. And did end up wrapping around, obviously, past the gold miner. And just making sure he landed back in safety in the lane. But if Cloud9 actually knew he was there, they could have easily collapsed on him. So he's going to have to kind of cool his aggression at this current time, especially when Chicken123 isn't around.
And that's something that Starting All Over is kind of known for, is very aggressive pathing. It does catch him out of position sometimes, but a lot of times it ends up paying off. Right now we got a big fight.
Well, we do indeed, and that's going to be a nice pickup there from Old School. Does manage to pick up Glaive. And T-Tigers just overstaying there just a little bit too long, and he will end up going down. Chicken123, though, he might be a little bit caught out as well. I Love Joseph has found him. Chicken123, no, not level 6 yet, so hasn't unlocked the ultimate. And you can see there already, starting all over, just counter aggression down onto Old School. And now Chicken123 just ticking that level 6. That level up just managed to save him as well. Does pop out the flare as well, making sure he knows where Cloud9 is. T-Tigers is going to go on the aggression here. Starting all over as well. It is going to almost take out Old School. That replay box block just saving, but not for long. I Love Joseph as well, going super low. T-Tigers have to be a little bit more careful. Breaking point is going to get picked up from Starting All Over. Now is the time to shine, but there's going to be a double kill coming through for Finn. Can Starting All Over get the complete ace? I'm not sure he can. He's just going to wander into completely uncontested bush and ends up going down as well. That's the over aggression we were talking about.
Yeah, well, it was a good attempt there. I think starting all over was expecting to have a little bit more damage dealt to Gabe Vizel's Finn, but Gabe Vizel has that Atlas Pauldron, so he has a fair bit of armor, and Finn is just so difficult to take down, and as a result, you know, the massive burst from the Sorrow Blade Lance hitting that Impale was enough to just pop starting all over. I believe it was like 450 damage or so that he hit onto him with. And a really good team fight for Cloud9. A very hectic team fight, that's for sure. But when all is said and done, when the dust does finally settle, Cloud9 come out with the advantage.
And you can see Forster caught out of nowhere from Gabe Vizel. See you later. Starting all over, just hits the dust, and now Chicken's going to get aggressed on as well. I didn't even see that one coming out of. I didn't see that one coming out of the Finn there, Tasty. I just did not see that one hitting, and he does end up going down. And my goodness, I mean, we talked about the compositions at the start, and I really liked the fact that Hammer's Velocity has kind of gone with what they've gone with before with this lineup. I mean, the Glaive just fantastic, and Ringo already kind of proving how much they can make it work. Just getting caught out like that is going to cost you, and it has done. The gold miner is going to get picked up for Cloud9. I mean, at this current time, I mean, we've seen starting all over. He's had such a really good early couple of minutes of the game, but coming up to this 10-minute mark, he's died twice in a row now, and just really not had that much of an impact.
Well, he does have the reflex block now, so we'll hopefully be able to avoid getting pulled in like that again. Vizel has 15 seconds still on that cooldown as well, but they're engaging.
Yeah, Polite Company is going to be used, and the knockback as well is going to send Joseph flying, so he's going to be safe to live another day, and they're just really putting all their eggs in, starting all over his basket, just making sure he's well and protected. Item shop is available, so it doesn't look like Hammer's Velocity are just trying to take control of that bottom side of the map, getting him all into the wall from I Love Joseph. Another Polite Company comes out from Gabe Vizel, and they will just disengage from that one, although Old School maybe a little bit out of position there, does get stunned up into the wall when it goes down. That's going to be another kill over to starting all over. They're just going to tower dive this one as well. The reflex bot coming out from him though, he might just start going down. Double kill for him in fact, and I Love Joseph finally picking him off there, but not after a double kill coming through for starting all over. I don't think Joseph is long for this world, but beautiful combat roll straight over that wall. But T-Tigers is going to chase him up, and you can see him getting the kill there. That Impale not quite landing, and that'll be 2 kills coming through. No, delayed 3 kills, I believe, actually, coming through for Hammer's Velocity.
Yeah, Old School starting that one off with a little bit of too aggressive positioning. Was not expecting the entirety of Hammer's Velocity to be coming up through the brush from the jungle. At the end of that fight, though, I Love Joseph. If that last Impale connects, maybe is able to turn that around and pick up another kill if he gets that Impale into a Githian wall, but just overshot his mark there, and that's one of the most annoying things I feel of playing as a Lance is that Forced Accord is going to get blocked by starting, but the fact that you can actually go over your target with that Impale, and it's exactly what we just saw there.
Yeah, straight over his head, and you're not wrong that Forced Accord completely missed, but it doesn't mean to say they're not going to go for a fight. Cloud9 just constantly on the aggression here, and we know Hammer's Velocity are a very aggressive team, but Cloud9 just really bringing it to them. All that CC we were talking about earlier is really paying off for them. Hammer's Velocity just having to back off under their tower, and with the Crucible picked up as well here for Chicken 123, that's going to be something important to keep in mind. Again, just putting all their eggs and starting all over his basket, just making sure he is well protected, because realistically, with the 5 kills, with most of the team's gold, they're going to want him to do the majority of the carrying at least.
Yeah, and both of these teams are putting a lot of focus on their lane carries. T-Tigers with this Glaive, yes, there is a bit of burst when he goes in, but a lot of the Glaive pick is about the utility of that afterburn, and it's the same thing with I Love Joseph on this Lance. Yes, he does have some good upfront burst if the Impale connects, but a lot of it is just all about the utility, and now Cloud9 looking for a fight.
Yet again, looking for the polite company, yet again being used for the engaged tool. There comes the root from the Lance. Chicken 123 getting sent super low, but here comes the damage. Here it comes, starting all over. Old School is in the back line though, so he's going to be majority of the time is going to be safe. And T-Tigers now just in the mix and starting all over, decided, you know what, this fight's not for me. Does end up exiting, and that will be 2 kills going over to Cloud9. And Tasty, I think this might be the first tower as well going over to them.
Yeah, very well should be, as starting all over is going to get rooted up and dropped. So Ace, that's going to guarantee the turret. May even end up in a second turret now with these Ace buff minions pushing in.
Ace buff minions doing a lot of work there. That is going to be 2 towers destroyed promptly, one after the other. And starting all over, maybe again, a little bit too aggressive coming out from him. You don't have that Crucible available to you from Chicken 123. Your reflex block was off cooldown as well. And that will be the 2 towers being sacrificed there.
And there are times where you just have to cut your losses and allow the turret to fall. There was no chance for starting all over to defend that turret. And it was pretty obvious that as soon as if he tried to engage, if he tried to stop them from pushing it on that turret, they were just going to turn and jump right onto him. So one of those situations where starting all over, maybe a little bit too confident in his abilities, ends up costing the team that second turret.
Yeah, and that's a really key point there. Too confident in his own abilities, right? We know he's a good player. We know he's aggressive, and he has shown that in the early game. Just, stepping up to that tower when you've got someone like a Lance, you've got someone like a Finn that can dive you 10 out of 10 times and it will kill you, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, Chicken 123, let's touch on him really quickly as well. He's really not had a good use of the gauntlet in this game, realistically. I mean, he's used it a couple of times, but just for very little effect. And you can already see Cloud9 going in on him yet again, and Finn's just going to have to dart away from this one. And there goes Chicken. No gauntlet being used yet again from him. And Glaive does end up going down. Old School, I think, is just going to finish off Chicken here. Ends up getting the last couple of hits on him if he can chase him up. And on the bottom side of the map here as well, realistically, starting all over, is he going to survive against the heavy CC coming out from a Finn and a Lance? No, he is not. That's going to be another complete ace coming through for Cloud9. I mean, Tasty, would you say it's their experience shining through?
I don't know if it's so much the experience showing through as it is the Hammers Velocity getting caught off guard a little bit. Coming into this series, Cloud9 is a team that thus far throughout VISPRO has been known for slower paced games. They've been known to be very methodical, very slow, not really looking for fights. The exact quote we had from another pro was, if given the chance, Cloud9 is more than happy to not fight until 15 minutes. But they have absolutely come out aggressive, come out of the gates swinging, and have brought the fight to Hammers Velocity, who are the team that has been known for being very aggressive. And it just looks to me like Hammers Velocity were not ready for this aggressive side of Cloud9. That last fight, it was so quick that Chicken 123, you mentioned, didn't get to use the gauntlet. He didn't use anything. He didn't use the Crucible or the Fountain of Renewal in that skirmish, and as a result, it is a nice lead for Cloud9. Kraken pushing in.
Kraken is going to push in, and you can see starting all over, doing his best to try and chunk it down, but realistically, that Kraken's got a lot of HP. Nice Githium Maul in, and there's the afterburn in from T-Tigers, but that afterburn might have just cost him his life, and finally a beautiful gauntlet coming down from Chicken 123, but starting all over, he's completely caught out, Tasty. He ends up going down. The turret falls as well. That Kraken doing so much work, and I think this is going to be game over. I think Cloud9 at the moment just too far ahead of Hammers Velocity. You can try and see they're doing something here, just trying all their might. Finn is going to try and jump on Old School. It's not going to happen. They're going to take him out. The ace is going to come through. Cloud9 are going to take this first game of this best of 5.
Yeah, that Verse of Judgment held for so long by Old School, finally unleashed there when there was no reflex blocks left. So it gets the stun onto both T-Tigers and Chicken 123. They both end up falling, and that leaves the Crystal vulnerable, and Cloud9 able to secure game number 1, bringing a little bit of a new, different look for Cloud9 than what we've seen in their previous few series, as showing that they're able to play that more aggressive style. They're able to bring the fight and search for those trades, which is something that they really had not been doing thus far. And when you're up against a team that you know is going to be aggressive, you have to fight fire with fire. And Cloud9 able to do exactly that here, looking incredibly strong to start off this series.
Yeah, exactly that. They're looking incredibly strong. I mean, Cloud9 coming into it, I thought, maybe they've just got an edge, like a tiny step above Hammer's Velocity. But coming out of that game, I think they've got a massive leap ahead of them right now. And I really want to see what Hammer's Velocity are actually going to do. Are they going to change up their draft strategy? What are they going to do in the early game that will maybe just help starting all over get a little bit more ahead so we can survive a little longer in these team fights? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and the one thing I do want to point towards is Gabe Vizzle on this Finn. He's the only person in VIS thus far who has played this Finn. A lot of people moved away from it because of the nerfs he received to this patch, but Gabe Vizzle has been more than willing to bring this roamer out. Maybe something that teams are going to have to pay a little bit more attention to, because he has absolutely been making plays with this hero. So, Dragonborn, we are going to have to see, will there be an adaptation in the pick ban phase for Hammer's Velocity to try and deal with this incredibly diverse hero pool that Cloud9 brings to the table?
Yeah, I think there has to be. We've seen both these two teams have kind of broken away from the normal conventional compositions. We've seen Velocity picking out some picks and more consistently picking picks that other teams have maybe not necessarily used as frequently. That Ringo aside, as that pick has definitely been very popular, but Cloud9 definitely pulling out a composition. We've seen them with the Finn and the Adagio pick over and over again. Gangstars, when they went up against this, they handled it by trying to ban out or pick that Adagio away, and that was not successful. So, Cloud9 seems to have an answer for everything. They've got 2 bans per team, so we could see some changes in the ban draft phase to try to deal with this. But really right now, Cloud9 showing North America a little different of a taste than they've seen elsewhere. So it's definitely been paying off for them. So with that, guys, we are going to take a quick break. When we return, we are going to get back and start talking about what we expect to see in the next matchup as we get into game number 2. This is a best of 5, so we've got a little ways to go. But 1 game up for Cloud9. It's definitely a comfortable place for them to be sitting at this moment. But with that, we'll be right back after this short break.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As we get ready for game number 2, you are joining us here at the VIS desk here for the finals of Split 1 of Winter Season for VIS Pro. I'm joined by Tasty Bacon and Jaws. Of course, Jaws debuting tonight, his first Vainglory cast, so please make sure you guys say hi in the chat and give him a warm welcome here to the Vainglory community, as we're excited to have you.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm excited to be here and already showing up to be some pretty good games. I mean, the Cloud9 absolutely, taking it in their stride, really, to come up against Hammer's Velocity here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we lost Jaws there for a second.
Nope, I heard him.
Are we good?
Oh, we're good now. Yep, we're good.
Yeah. Okay, we're cool. Yeah, we're all good. I'm still here.
Awesome. Yeah, so minor show my part. Yeah, I mean, it was really close. I think, and you both saw this, Jaws and Tasty, how close it was early. I mean, it felt like it was almost neck and neck for the first 6 or 7 minutes. Really, after we got past that 9 minutes, you guys started to talk about that surge that Cloud9 had. Tasty, talk a little bit about what you saw that made that so successful.
Well, I think a lot of it was not only the play from Old School, which is the star of the team in the lane, the carry, getting a lot of the kills, but for me, a lot of it was actually I Love Joseph and Gabe Vizzle enabling Old School to make those plays. They were playing incredibly aggressive, which is something that we haven't seen a whole lot of from Cloud9, but with the Lance and the Finn, surprisingly enough, they were going incredibly aggressive onto their opponents, and we saw, you actually pointed it out, Gabe Vizzle with a Finn when team fights started using boots to charge in, get in the thick of things, and activate an Atlas Pauldron. That's something we almost never see on a Finn, and I think that kind of helped to contribute to Cloud9 sort of catching Hammer's Velocity off guard, because they do pull out these things that you just don't expect to see. I mean, between the hero picks of playing Finn, we saw I Love Joseph on Kroll. Old School, I think, is the only laner right now playing Adagio. They have these deep hero pools that can catch team off guard, but even then playing their strategies in game differently than what we would normally expect to see on these heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's resulted in a slightly different look from Cloud9. Again, not necessarily different look in hero compositions, but definitely in play style. So we talk about what needs to happen here for Hammer's Velocity. They, of course, obviously want to get back into the series. The dual ban phase definitely can contribute to that. Jaws, what are some of the things that you think Hammer's Velocity could probably look at doing to get back into the series?
I mean, just make sure starting all over is safe, right? And just calling him back, like, you know you're going to get dove. We saw the 3-man tower dive. It was going to happen. You were half HP. Realistically, you need to walk away. You need to just basically say, we've lost the tower. That's fine. You walk away, wait for their minions to get to our second tier, and then maybe obviously we can spawn up and just kind of help you and support you in that senses, rather than obviously just dying completely needlessly, getting the ace buff on the enemy team, then taking tier 2 tower. So realistically, also I think they need to do, because they had a fantastic early game, is just making sure starting all over kind of knows when to rotate. And I think as soon as they get that down, I think he can play whatever hero he wants, because at the moment, Ringo is super impressed me.
Absolutely. We're getting ready for the next game here in a moment as the draft is wrapping up. And some key takeaways here. I just asked Tasty what you think Hammer's Velocity needs to do from your point of view, as they're looking to get back into game number 2.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it is going to be just kind of reining in starting all over a little bit. They've gotten this far with starting all over just being a massive bully in the lane and just punishing whoever he was up against. I Love Joseph and Gabe Vizzle, the way that they're able to protect Old School, he's not really able to be as aggressive as he likes to, because he's just getting punished for it over and over again. So I really want to see them try and rein in starting all over just a little bit. Obviously, going to be trying to protect him, but as the draft comes through here, very quickly getting these heroes picked, same exact composition for Hammer's Velocity here in game number 2. The phrase is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but it didn't work in game number 1, but they still feel confident in these heroes. They pick the exact same thing over on the side of Cloud9. I get to see another Kroll come out from I Love Joseph, so this could be really difficult for starting all over in order to get that massive carry on Ringo that he likes to have.
Yeah, I mean, if he can kind of get that rolling, I think he's going to be able to just kind of control the game from that front. I mean, obviously we did see Hammers ban away the Adagio away from Old School and said, okay, you're not allowed that one. We're just going to take that off the board. Obviously, you were able to keep up with starting all over. So, maybe it's a little bit too strong for us. We'll pick the same composition. We'll go into something else, play against something else, and we'll see how we can do against that. But I like what you mentioned there. If it's broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, if they practice this composition a fair bit, and it seems like they have done, I mean, they're going to want to make it work. But that can sometimes lead to a little bit disaster, I feel.
Yeah, well, if they can't get a win here in game number 2 with this composition, something definitely needs to change. Thankfully for them, it is a best of 5, so they have the opportunity to run this composition again, despite the loss in game number 1. But here they come looking extremely aggressive, trying to find a kill in the jungle, and this is exactly what I would want to see against a Kroll. You want to go aggressive on the Kroll and try and invade him, make the plays onto the Kroll. But not really going to be successful here. They don't get either of those treants. Both of those do go over to I Love Joseph. They don't get a kill, and as a result, it's just kind of going to be a wash of an early game for the side of Hammers.
Yeah, that was actually really frustrating for them, especially as you did obviously see the glaive, and T-Tiger's basically just afterburned away. He was like, okay, so no, this is all over. No, afterburn away, and I'm just going to recall, going to go back to the base, and then we're going to go into our jungle and then start farming up, which is going to pretty much lead Cloud9 to have this kind of early advantage. They didn't lose anything there. In fact, Hammer's Velocity lost 2 camps technically, and just the timing now is going to be all off, and you can see Kroll obviously coming up to the lane now.
Well, actually, we'll see how much they are actually going to lose off of this, because I Love Joseph, they didn't take advantage of that situation. They didn't go and grab that Ancient Treant. They really didn't do much of anything with the knowledge that the start from Hammer's Velocity did not go the way they wanted. So we're actually going to be pretty much dead even on gold. Neither team getting the advantage of picking up that extra Treant in the middle of the map. And you can see T-Tiger is going to try and go aggressive here. They're really just trying to punish Old School and keep him having to farm up underneath this turret, which Vox doesn't have the easiest time farming in the early game. You can see Old School already going to be recalling back to base in order to get a little bit of weapon power so that he can have just that little bit easier time farming.
Yeah, with that as well. Yeah, it's going to give him a little safer laning phase. He won't get pushed in as often, but having the glaive, I mean, just such the massive amount of engage that hero does have is going to, I think, it's going to kind of annoy Old School a little bit, I think, in these early game team fights. I mean, we already know and we've already seen what starting all over can do with the Ringo in the early game. And I think if Old School right now, if he does end up going behind, I think he's going to have a real problem actually bringing it back. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm really interested to see how I Love Joseph is actually going to path here, because obviously he's going towards his backs now. Will he go up to the lane now, Tasty, or is he going to kind of just farm up and wait till 6 to get his ultimate through? I mean, from Hell's Heart, I mean, just does an absolute shed ton of damage. If anybody's played it against it before, I mean, it's absolutely horrible. And you can already see actually T-Tiger is going really aggressive here, and this is exactly what I said they'd do.
Yeah, the extremely aggressive play, just trying to punish Old School up in this lane. This kind of forces I Love Joseph to have to come out, but he needs to be careful he doesn't go through that brush. He would have been walking into all 3 members. He is still going to get engaged on a bit, but thankfully Kroll a little bit extra health over what the Vox has to start the game, so he's not really going to be punished too much. And I feel like I Love Joseph does want to just kind of stay in the jungle until he hits that level 6, because of the impact that From Hell's Heart does have, especially when there's no reflex blocks, which there aren't going to be when I Love Joseph hits level 6. Is something we saw yesterday when he played this hero, was he hit level 6, immediately went up to the lane, immediately made an impact, killing the opposing laner with the From Hell's Heart. So if they can have a similar situation here for Cloud9, that is going to be their ideal situation.
Yeah, we'll see if he can put that, see if he can bring that to life and in this stage of the game. Both fountains obviously picked up at the same time there. Obviously, Arden just picked up his just after Finn did. I mean, Gabe Vizzle on this Finn, I think he's done a fantastic job, and I really like seeing this pick on him actually. It does look like he's actually going to get aggressed on after, but is going to get used. Old School getting super chunked. He's going to have to use those boots to just speed himself away. Gabe Vizzle as well, getting a little bit of damage poured on top of him, and you can see I Love Joseph here. He's kind of waiting in the sidelines here, has been spotted out by T-Tigers, but no from Hell's Heart just yet, so I don't think he's going to want to fight all too soon. And already, Hell's Velocity just putting a lot of pressure on this turret. You can see now, down to about 2/3 of his HP, with Gabe Vizzle taking a lot of damage as well. And with every hero almost hitting level 6 soon, I can imagine, Tasty, that it's going to be a fight that's going to ensue very, very shortly.
Oh, absolutely. I Love Joseph just needs about half of a level to get to 6, which is what he's really gunning for. He needs to be careful if he rotates down through here, but there is not much vision for Hammers other than at the entrances to their jungle. And this is one of the other things I really like about I Love Joseph's play. When he's on the scroll, he actually goes, because he knows he's going to be alone in the jungle pretty much all game, he buys vision as well to put down those scout traps and alleviate some of the pressure from Gabe Vizzle to try and get that vision down. It allows Gabe Vizzle to just hang out in this lane and really work to protect Old School, which is necessary against the aggression coming out from Hammer's Velocity.
Yeah, exactly that. And you can see already, speaking of aggression, you can see T-Tigers there. Every time he sees Old School just stepping out of place just once, Afterburn, straight away, just pops the ability, goes, fine, that's fine. I'll just dive in, not a problem. I've got boots away. It's not going to be an issue. And we'll see if he does want to attempt that again when boots do come off cooldown. But they're going really aggressive here, and actually they're going to find I Love Joseph. The stun does come through. It's a lot of damage from starting all over as well. And they are just bullying I Love Joseph. What do you think he can do realistically now he's got his ult to come back into this one? Because he just seems to be batted around at the moment.
Well, he's been doing okay thus far. That was really kind of the first time that he's been punished pretty heavily. It was a nice rotation from Hammers, and taking advantage of the recall from Cloud9 to just destroy that turret. Very heads-up play from Hammer's Velocity. That's going to actually do quite a bit for them, because now they can push up a little bit further. It's not as safe for Cloud9 to hang out anywhere. I Love Joseph is going to try and take advantage of the situation to go ahead and clear out a couple of camps from the Hammers side of the map, but with him being level 6, I would like to see them try and take advantage of that in the lane, maybe rotate on back up and just look for an opportunity to use that from Hell's Heart. But for now, they're gonna just have to play a little bit safer, waiting for this late game. This, I feel, is going to be more of that traditional Cloud9 style that we were talking about, where they just play very patient, very passive, do not look for many team fights until they are at a much more comfortable late game standpoint.
Well, speaking of team fights, Forced Accord is going to get used. The silence comes out as well through on starting all over. Old School almost went for the 1v1 there, and you can see now Finn going for the re-engage. Gabe Vizzle now the only member in this front line. T-Tigers is going to get taken really low. Polite Company to slow everybody up, although T-Tigers, he's in the mix. Old School just re-enters the fight, picks up the kill. However, it is going to be traded. Starting all over is going to get pick himself up a kill. I Love Joseph going again a little bit too overstretched, and he will end up going down.
Yeah, Old School did get the first blood there, though, so slight advantage on that fight to Cloud9 because they do get that bonus gold. But after the fight, you can see starting all over, stealing away some jungle camps, trying to maybe negate a little bit of that bonus that was picked up. Chicken going to be clearing out vision, and the vision war is probably going to really start ramping up here now that we hit the 8-minute mark. This is kind of the beginning stages of the mid game where we do see a little bit more roaming, a little bit more plays to happen in the jungle or around the middle of the map. Teams trying to get the drop on their opponents wherever they can, but looks like Hammer's Velocity, they may be looking for a fight here.
That's exactly what they want to do. Super aggressive team, always looking for fights. And you can imagine Old School definitely wants to repay them a visit in a second. He's ahead ever so slightly, right? And that's the important thing, because starting all over, he's so oppressive on this Ringo pick. However, if he does get jumped on, he's going to get insta-killed. Gauntlet does come down. Forced Accord is going to get blocked. T-Tigers, beautiful reflex block. Nice reaction timing there is going to make sure he doesn't get aggressed on, although Cloud9 haven't given up just yet. Polite Company not really doing too much. Gabe Vizzle coming forward yet again, but starting all over, perfectly healthy in this front line. And I Love Joseph just his health bars, ticking away. Hellfire Brute is going to come forward, and yet again just targeting I Love Joseph, just making sure he cannot go for those aggressive plays.
And there's a couple things about that last sequence of plays that actually may have to hold on a bit here, because Hammers are not done.
Oh, they are not done. Gabe Vizzle is going to go really low. Polite Company to drag everybody in. He's so low. I think that was actually the heel just come out from their fountain there, I believe. And now starting all over. Might have to start all over again as he does end up going down. I Love Joseph picks up the kill eventually and just splitting up from his team there for just a brief second. And you can see Cloud9 go, well, he's alone. We'll just jump on him and kill him. And that's exactly what they did. Just capitalizing on that mistake.
Yeah, very decisive play from Cloud9 to take advantage of that positioning error from the side of Hammer's Velocity. They were really playing off their heels there, and I wanted to go back to just before those two little trades happened where Hammer's Velocity, they had Cloud9 down in the jungle. They positioned themselves in such a way that Cloud9 did not feel comfortable moving back up to the lane and took advantage of that to push in and got a ton of damage down onto that turret. And I really liked that movement from Hammers, but then, like I said, just sticking around a little bit too long. They didn't have the tools to prevent the engagement from Cloud9 any longer. Cloud9 able to find that kill, but now Old School in trouble.
Yeah, engagement indeed, and Polite Company is going to be used yet again. Forced to core, beautifully blocked by the Crucible, but Old School is not done yet. Has got his sights on Chicken 1, 2, 3, but yet again they are just going to back off as soon as he advances. They're obviously starting all over. We'll literally just jump on him and one-shot him. Like there's no if and or buts about that. Hellfire Brute is going to come out. Actually does land onto Old School there, so that's going to be a lot of chip damage onto him, as well as the Gold Miner doing a little bit of damage there as well. And Cloud9 are just going to have to back off of this one. They're a tower down right now. They're a turret down even. But the problem is that I just don't think Hammer's Velocity really know what to do with that advantage.
Well, it's kind of been, for me, that both teams are really trying to focus on getting that pick onto the lane carry of their opposition and almost going a little bit too focused on that, kind of putting the blinders on and saying, okay, we want to get this one individual killed. And there's been both teams kind of overstepping a little bit while looking for those kills and very nearly giving up one of their own as a result. But it's just that back and forth that's been constantly going on. Gabe Vizzle going to be, again, going with this Atlas Pauldron on the Finn. We'll see if he continues to use those boots to try and charge in and slow down the attacks from starting all over. T-Tigers just had a bit of a misclick there. He had bought a weapon infusion and then immediately sold it for a crystal infusion. So a little bit of a waste of 500 gold. That's not going to be the end of the world, but still could be crucial. That timing of not being able to maybe get an item when they need it now. Maybe something that if a fight breaks out shortly could be an issue.
Yeah, speaking of fights breaking out shortly, T-Tiger's just going to afterburn straight onto Old School. The Gauntlet does get popped as well, so they're going to have a lot of defense. But look at that, the drag over the wall and starting all over is going to fall yet again. Gabe Vizzle just doing absolutely fantastic job on this Finn. Chicken 1, 2, 3, he's going to be left completely out to dry there. Cloud9 picking up 1 kill, they pick up 2. Will they be able to get that ace buff? You can see Glaive, T-Tiger's just afterburning over the wall there. It does look like he's just going to go for the recall. So no ace buff actually coming through for Cloud9. Doesn't mean to say they're not going to grab this tower, however, and they're just going to push this one out.
Yeah, they're knowing that they weren't going to be able to chase down T-Tigers over the wall. They just immediately started pushing up to the lane, getting that turret, equalizing the turret count on the fold. They're going to be trying to get this gold miner as well, but he's starting all over. Maybe have something to say about that. Yeah, they actually realized that they didn't necessarily have all the tools in their arsenal, and they want to back off, but Hammers, they found them.
Yeah, found them, and they're going to chase them through the Hellfire Brew, just chasing Old School. A nice chunk of 450 damage will send him packing. I'm not sure he's going to want to engage on that one. I think this is the perfect time for Hammer's Velocity to start that gold miner, and that's exactly what they're doing. Just using that Hellfire Brew to such good effect. They're just, not using it as an execute tool, just making sure that Old School has to back, picking up that gold, 258 gold, Tasty. I mean, I couldn't say no to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Every little bit helps. If you look up at the scoreboard, the gold is actually extremely even thanks to that nearly 1,000 gold that Hammer's Velocity did just pick up for the team. And, now they've got a pretty sizable wave pushing in. It is going to get dealt with by Old School. T-Tigers, he is lurking. He's looking for an opportunity to go aggressive. It would be a really risky play if he did right now. I think they were hoping to try and find someone isolated and try and just pick them off, but realizing that's not an opportunity, they do back away. Look at the scout traps getting put down now, though. There's been a constant vision battle between both of these sides. Hammers currently have the edge on that. We'll see how long that does last. You got to figure once Cloud9 rotates on down through the middle of the map, they're going to be clearing out a lot of these traps and putting down some of their own, because Kraken is now on the fold. Both teams are going to have to be very wary of that objective.
Yeah, 15 minutes on the clock, and with that, both teams will just size each other up around the item shop and around the Kraken, just making sure each one of them doesn't go for those go for the objective. And you can see there, T-Tigers getting a lot of flares down, just making sure they know where Cloud9 is, but Cloud9 are just going to go for the recall here. And you could see if Hammer's Velocity knew that was going to happen, they could instantly start the Kraken up at this point and maybe even just set up a death push, but they're not going to be able to find that information out, which means they're just going to push the wave, however, and Cloud9 are just going to look for a small engage, it looks like. Chicken just backing off, though. Not playing so Chicken, though.
Yeah, he's absolutely just baiting them, stalling Cloud9 while the Kraken is being worked on. Hammer's Velocity, they're nearly going to get this. No! Okay, no, it did get secured. Okay. It got secured for a second.
Gauntlet goes down and starting all over. Is going to start this fight all over again. It does look like the Gauntlet user is going to go down. Arden just falls eventually. And it does look like Old School is going to finally pick himself up another kill. However, that Kraken is marching towards their base. And you can see now, T-Tigers has decided, I don't need the Kraken to take the tower. I've got a couple of minions here with me. So he's just going to take that one, not a problem. Going to push on to this tier 3 turret. And that Kraken's still making their way in. And you can see Cloud9 just etching it down ever so slowly. And finally, Glaive does get the recall off. And you can see starting all over, just claiming the rest of Cloud9 jungle. And I think at this moment, Hammer's Velocity just have a firm grasp of the lead at this current time. If they can keep this up, doesn't matter about the kills, doesn't matter about the gold. They've got the pressure advantage.
Yeah, they absolutely have the pressure advantage, but that Kraken push not exactly working out the way they would have liked. It did buy a little bit of time for T-Tigers to go ahead and take that secondary turret, and they got about half of the damage done onto that third turret, but only one turret getting picked up with Kraken. Not the greatest of pushes, as it does result in a total net gold gain for Cloud9, but because Starting Over was able to steal away that jungle, that does balance it out a little bit. But here's a fight.
Here's a fight. The massive Polite Company is going to separate the team there. T-Tigers ends up in the back line. It does look like I Love Joseph is going to jump straight on to Starting All Over. That's a massive lot of damage from the Carland after burning away, and don't think Glaive wants any more to do with that. Old School just chasing Starting All Over up. Once the 1v1, they do actually end up just trading completely out there. Glaive ends up picking up Old School with Starting All Over finally just getting his revenge, I think, from the earlier stages of the game. But 2-6 is the scoreline, with the gold dead on even as well for both of these teams. And Cloud9 now, they have, I wouldn't say they've got the advantage. The wave is pushing towards them, so they're going to have to kind of clean that one up. But both teams completely even right now.
Yeah, very even. I do want to see Cloud9 kind of funnel a little bit more gold onto I Love Joseph right now, because he is actually going to be integral to this team being able to win these fights. He needs to get onto Starting All Over and stay on Starting All Over. That second part has been the problem thus far. He's able to get onto him very well and get those weakness stacks built up, but every single time it feels like Starting All Over has been able to get away from him and then kind of rejoin the fight, do enough damage to prevent Cloud9 from getting a decisive team fight victory. And so I Love Joseph is really going to kind of need to get, I don't know, maybe a Shiver Steel or something along the lines to help him be able to stick to his target a little bit better. I'm also curious about the ward treads being picked up there. Obviously, it will help with the entire team getting to get onto a fight, but it kind of hurts his individual powers to do so.
Well, we'll see if that individual power does come into play. Nice reflux block on the Hellfire Brute, but I Love Joseph is just going to get taken out there. Almost goes down, and that is going to be a massive gauntlet being played as well. And Old School is just getting soloed out in the backline, but doing so much damage, just ends up running into the gauntlet wall and falling as well. That's going to be 2 kills picked up for the Hammer's Velocity. Make that a triple there. Ace comes through. The Ace buff is going to go on to all members, and that is going to be a tower down. And will this be the end of the game, Tasty? I think it could be. They're just going to come straight onto these towers. However, are there any minions? I don't think they even need them, to be honest with you. And Hammer's Velocity are going to take this second game in, so we are 1 apiece right now.
Yeah, much better performance from Hammer's Velocity this time around. Able to grab this victory. Very decisive movements from them. I do feel like I Love Joseph just didn't have enough gold to be relevant with this Krull. We saw a showcase of that in the last fight, where he tried to get in onto starting all over, but he didn't have enough to have a reflex block yet. He didn't have the movement speed that he needed to try and stick on target. He ended up just kind of running in a circle, trying to get onto any target that he could, and ended up not really being able to get onto any of them. Starting all over, able to position himself just on the other side of the gauntlet wall without the reflex block. I Love Joseph couldn't pass that, and so he just ends up kind of, standing around in the middle of the gauntlet without a target, and that's taking essentially a member out of a fight. You're not really going to be able to win a 3-on-3 fight if one of your members isn't able to do anything.
Yeah, and exactly that. Completely disregarding them completely from that team fight. 2-on-3, who's going to win that? The 3 every single time. Hammer's Velocity coming back from that one. That was a really impressive game from them. And I'm going to wonder now, are Cloud9, going to decide maybe we're going to ban one of your heroes that you've been picking for 2 games in a row here? Are they just going to let them go through again? We'll need to find out. Game 3, obviously, is up next.
Yeah, everybody, and as we get ready for that game 3, just a quick side note that was interesting about that, and Jaws, I don't know if you noticed it, but we were talking about the gold, but it was also like the management of the gold. I Love Joseph buying Infusion so early prevented him from getting his breaking point until about 18 minutes. That, even for a pro player behind, that's a pretty long time to wait to get breaking point. He prioritized Atlas, of course, and Tread so he could get in and pop Atlas onto starting all over, but I think his inability to do damage really inhibited his team from some of those later game team fights. The last fight, he did have a breaking point, but it was, again, at that point, it just seemed like, Hammer's Velocity had started to get back into that game. So,
that was it, really, wasn't it? They just started getting back into that game and just kind of ran away with it from there.
Absolutely, yeah. So that means that we've got a 1-1 split right now in this best of 5, so we're definitely going to 4 games at least, and we're going to find out how game number 3 is decided in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after the break.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
Welcome back, everybody. Had to take a quick little break, but we are moving quickly here through this best of 5 series. I am, of course, Dragonborn, your host, joined by Tasty Bacon and Jaws, and this has been a very exciting best of 5 so far, guys. As we just saw Hammers, they did what they needed to do, ironically enough, with the exact same comp that they lost the first game. So that's a whole lot of confidence in your team's ability to perform to pull out the exact same thing, Jaws, right?
Yeah, oh, most definitely. I mean, coming into it, obviously, like I said, Hammer's Velocity, they've picked the same composition twice now. They've lost with it once, and they not crushed. I wouldn't say crushed, but they got handed to, basically. And then they pull out again, and they do what they set out to do, which was protect. Starting all over, and that's exactly what they did. And yeah, they did an absolutely fantastic job of that. And I think Cloud9 just kind of crumbled towards the mid stage of the game after the early lead that Hammer's Velocity did secure.
Now, Tasty, you saw how that game ended, and I mentioned right before the break about I Love Joseph not buying Breaking Point until 18 minutes. I think that was partly due to his defensive prioritization and the fact he was infusing a lot. Tell me about that, because that just shocked me. That like 18 minutes is a long time.
Honestly, I almost would have preferred to see him wait even longer to finish that item, because like I was touching on, he ended up not having the movement speed because he prioritized the war treads instead of getting the journey boots. I'm not too keen on that idea as a Kroll. I feel like as a Kroll, you want to go for the greedier pickup and get the journey boots so that you can stay on your target. Whereas obviously the war treads are more team oriented pickup. But I also really wanted to see the fact that he didn't have a reflex block or a shiver steal. Both of those two, I feel like, really hurt the Kroll's effectiveness in that game. Especially again, perfect example of what I was talking about was that last team fight where he was just kind of stuck inside the gauntlet, unable to really do much of anything.
Yeah, I mean, the breaking point was one aspect of it. You're right, the Shiver Steel was a huge part of it as well. It looked like his prioritization was just really to Atlas Ringo for the early part of the game, which I felt was odd considering how effective Gabe Vizzle did it in the last game, why they needed to double it. Like, right, it just seemed like a strange way to play that pick considering how game number 1 went.
Yeah, it was. I could definitely see the idea behind it, but just unfortunately because I Love Joseph was not able to get as much gold as I feel like he would have liked, it kind of just set the Kroll back a little bit too much, and he just wasn't able to have the level of impact that we kind of come to expect from I Love Joseph on a Kroll, or even just in general. So hopefully for the side of Cloud9, I Love Joseph will be able to have a better game here in game number 3. But we are tied at 1 apiece as we get into this draft.
Yeah, we're going to jump straight into this one. You can see, obviously, Old School going straight back onto the Vox and said, hey, we're just going to do it again. I want a different game. I want to make sure I win this one. And starting all over for the third time in a row is actually going to get his Ringo. Who was surprised? I definitely wasn't. Lance is going to be picked up as well. And Samuel is going to be an interesting pickup for T-Tigers as well. And Tasty Bacon, what do you think about this Samuel coming into this one?
Well, Samuel's a pick that we've seen a lot of players going for, a lot of teams running out of the jungle. It's a very powerful pickup, and obviously extremely difficult to actually take down in a team fight once he's able to get that Eve of Harvest rolling, and you can do a lot of sort of utility once he gets that Frostburn as well. We'll see if he does go for the Frostburn first item, as a lot of players have. The one concern that I do have here for the side of Hammers is they don't really have a lot of protection for the Ringo this time around. So starting all over is going to absolutely have to be on his A game as far as positioning is concerned in order to keep himself safe. The pick I'm actually most interested in, though, is going to be I Love Joseph running this Sky. We've seen Sky really fall out of favor quite a bit. Still has a ton of damage with the Crystal Path, which is what he's going to be doing. But we'll see if they can take advantage of that early, because Hammers are on the hunt.
Yeah, they are on the hunt. Gabe Vizzle just gets a little bit caught out there on the Arden, but he'll be all right. I mean, Chicken123 just going, I'd say that's pretty aggressive, just completely disrupting I Love Joseph's jungle pathing there. T-Tigers will be there as well on the Samuel. I Love Joseph, like you said, though, is going to go the Crystal Power route, which will mean, obviously, that's quite a lot of damage, especially in the early stages of this game. I mean, Chicken taking a lot there, but completely disrupting the path there from I Love Joseph might be quite detrimental to him, although Old School, yet again, just getting a kind of aggressed on here in lane, starting all over, being aggressive as always.
Yeah, and you mentioned disrupting the path of I Love Joseph. He hasn't even gotten up to that. Actually, never mind. I misread the numbers. Just small phone screens and all that. But Chicken123 is just kind of trying to be a nuisance here. But T-Tigers or Chicken falls. T-Tigers hasn't gotten a single CS yet.
That was really confusing. I mean, you disrupt, fine, but you don't stay long enough to die. I think that's the kind of rule there. Like, maybe you disrupt a couple of camps, yeah, you get him off his pathing, but you don't stay around that long to end up giving up first blood. And even T-Tigers now is only just got back to his base. That recall was so close, and if that was another kill for I Love Joseph, I think that game would have been over from there on out if he had 2 kills that quick in this game.
Yeah, I Love Joseph is still, even though his jungling got disrupted, you still have to give the edge to him, because he does have a little for that 5 CS to kind of start this second rotation timing over the 1 that T-Tigers had. T-Tigers is going to get a few more now that he finally clears out his own side of the jungle, but I Love Joseph, he's going to be clearing out his side, and as a result, will end up on top of these 2 junglers. It's going to be very even, very close to par, but now that Joseph gets these back respawning T-Tigers, is going to try and interrupt him again.
Yeah, he is. He's just going very, very aggressive yet again. I mean, the problem with the Samuel here, he's going to burn through a lot of his resources. And you can see here, starting all over, he's going to get aggressed on as well. I Love Joseph just going so ham, just wanting this kill. He ends up picking it up. And that early kill he got at the start of the game there, Tasty, I think that's paid off dividends in the terms of what gold he got from it, because he's really putting it to good use already, just kind of snowboarding himself, just making sure he can get on as Sky, especially in the later stages of the game, that death from above just wreaks havoc on a team fight.
And not only that, was I Love Joseph able to go in with Gabe Vizzle and steal away this jungle. They get all 3 of these camps thus far, and even taking away all 4 camps. Go to I Love Joseph in the Hammer side of the jungle. The Ancient Treant will go over to Hammer's Velocity, but that's just sort of a consolation prize at this point, because I Love Joseph, they need to be very wary of him snowballing out of control in this game. You see he's got those the 3 crystal bits and has plenty of gold in his pocket as well. And that's just going to continue to increase. T-Tigers, Is he going to be in trouble?
He is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Does back off towards the gold miner, and you can see there does put down the drifting dark. That's going to actually attract the gold miner over. Probably not the best way to put it, but meanwhile on the top side, in fact, I completely missed that. Chicken123 actually managed to take out the box with him. I'm sure starting all over helped somehow. And Gabe Vizzle is going to engage as well, starting all over, going really low. And I Love Joseph finally in there, just assisting in a kill this time. But here comes T-Tigers, and that's in fact going to be a double kill for Gabe Vizzle, finally being traded up there. T-Tigers is going to be able to pick up one. Will he be able to pick up two? He does indeed. And that's going to be a 2-for-2 trade. But realistically, 2 of those kills going straight over to Gabe Vizzle. Not the best use of gold distribution, I think.
And technically it was a 3-for-2 trade because Old School did go down at the start of all that as well. So really nice job by Hammers. A pretty hectic and chaotic sequence of events. You and I were both watching that skirmish down in the jungle when that first kill came through. So not quite sure what happened up there, but both of these teams, especially Hammers, that aggressiveness that comes out from them. Cloud9 trying to match that level of aggression in order to put a damper on it. But Hammers able to find those few kills, 2 of them going to T-Tigers, like you mentioned. Look at the CS numbers, we're very even there as well. As a result, this gold is pretty much dead even between them. This is kind of what we were hoping for from these finals. 2 extremely evenly matched teams.
Yep, 2 evenly matched teams. You haven't got half of that wrong at all, and you can see now nice double root coming out from Chicken, double Githian wall as well. The CC follow-up is absolutely massive, and that will be a nice kill going over to starting all over. And with that as well, that tower is going to be put under a little bit of pressure. I Love Joseph is going to be there. He's quite far ahead, does use the death from above just to try and clear out some of those minions, but that will be first turret going straight over to the side of Hammer's Velocity.
And one of the things I've really liked from Hammer's Velocity thus far in VISPRO has been their objective focus while mixed in with all this massive aggression we see from them. They get 1 kill and turn it into a turret. It's kind of a constant thing. Cloud9, it does a very similar thing, but not quite as fight-focused. Cloud9 will frequently find 1 kill and just immediately go for a turret. Hammer's Velocity, they just go for a fight. If they happen to get a kill, then maybe they'll go for the objective, but a very heavy focus on just burning down whatever they decide to make their target.
Yeah, and speaking of burning down as well, Githian Wall Joseph jumps straight into that one, and here comes the drifting dark, but I think it's a little bit too late. Chicken is almost going to go down, and you can see starting all over, actually just diving straight into the backline. Vox does end up going down. That's going to be 2 kills going over straight into the pockets of Hammer's Velocity, and my goodness, they are taking aggression to a whole new level at this point. And you can see down at the bottom, Gabe Vizzle just kind of shrugging his shoulders, going back to base and deciding, yeah, this fight is not going to be mine. And already they are going to knock onto this tower. I think it's actually going to go down. Oblivion does go through. Old School doesn't go to sleep, however, and now Chicken's going to get aggressed on, and it looks like he's just going to try and give up his own life here. In fact, he might be able to get away, although Gabe Vizzle is going to chase him up. That's going to be another tower even going straight over to Hammer's Velocity, and that's the macro game is pretty big at this point.
Yeah, I Love Joseph actually throwing the blind forward barrage. I don't think Chicken realized that his recall got stopped because he just kind of stood there waiting and didn't really do much. I Love Joseph just waiting for him to come over the wall. Man. Yeah, there's nowhere for you to go, Chicken, unfortunately, and that took so long, and as a result, I mean, Hammer's Velocity in a situation where Chicken was sacrificing his life to start. He used that impale aggressively onto the turret just to make sure that it went down, even though it had just been destroyed by T-Tigers getting one last shot in on it. But he was perfectly willing to sacrifice his life there, and that ended up stalling both I Love Joseph and Gabe Vizzle for quite a bit of time, allowing starting all over and T-Tigers to recall, buy up, and then get back out onto the fold so that the members of Cloud9 couldn't take advantage of the kill they had just found.
Yeah, and taking advantage of those kills, and that's exactly what Hammers have done so far. I mean, looks like they got their sights set on the gold miner now. They're just going to be able to take this one with ease, I think. Starting all over It's got quite a bit of damage at this point, and mixed with T-Tigers as well. It's quite easily going to go down, I think. 300 gold, that's pretty impressive. Payload goes out. Oblivion is going to come through the gauntlet as well. That drifting dark, though. T-Tigers getting so much healing from that, but the death from above is going to rain down, and they are going to trade 1-for-1 so far. And now Gabe Fizzle is going to be the next target, with I Love Joseph finally being the last one, a member alive for Cloud9, and that will be Hammer's Velocity taking the ace, and they might just take this next tier 3 tower here from a Cloud9. Hammer's Velocity, they're coming up big in this best of 5.
Yeah, the turret probably not going to go down because the death timers are so short still. Not even 10 minutes into this game. So you see they don't want to push their luck. They don't want to overstay their welcome. But look at the infusions coming out. Cloud9 maybe getting a little bit desperate here as all 3 members have an infusion. They're trying to find a fight right now, but they just don't have the tools available to them to force it. There's no gauntlet, there's no boots on anyone other than I Love Joseph, and as a result, they're not going to be able to get that catch onto Hammers that they were looking for, but Hammers, they're willing to give them a fight.
They're willing to give him a fight. Old School is going to get jumped on here, and starting all over with the damage from the backline is just able to tear through him. He's going to pick himself up a double kill, in fact. Gabe Fizzle did not stand a chance. Neither was I Love Joseph. He's trying to take 2-on-1. It's not going to happen. T-Tigers is then going to pick up that kill. They only trade 1 for 3, and that's going to be Hammer's Velocity. They're going to finally take this tier 3 tower here. Drifting Dark just to kill the rest of the lane minions. Old School has spawned, however, but realistically, I'm not sure it's going to give too much attention to it. Oblivion does come out, and a hero kill comes through. Massive kill there coming through for starting all over. They are just running all over Cloud9 at this point.
Yeah, Cloud9 maybe going to try and catch them on the retreat, but they think better of it. They realize, their power is just so much higher than what we're able to dish out. This Crystal Miner respawning is going to be maybe fought over. Yeah, there's no one from the side of Cloud9 to stop this, so another Crystal Miner life gone. I believe it has 1 respawn left in it, but that will be its last life. And Hammer's Velocity, this is that massive hyper aggression that we've seen them come out with, and I was worried about not having the protection from starting all over, but it's Cloud9 that need the protection from starting all over, as he has just been absolutely on fire this game.
Yeah, on fire indeed, and you can see it by the scoreboard right now. 6-2-5 on the Ringo, and very little defensive items under his belt either. That's the build I kind of like playing as well. Just run in there, just try and 1v3, just see what happens, and he's been making it work. Really aggressive play from him, and just the perfect protection as well coming out from Chicken, and even T-Tigers. I mean, that Oblivion can be used defensively as well. You just pop it straight on starting all over. No one can get on top of him, because otherwise they're just going to get put to sleep. They get the gold miner as well. Tasty, what realistically can Cloud9 do right now to come back into this game?
That's an excellent question, because I don't really see any options for them with how quickly they are getting blown up. A nice gauntlet, but a very defensive gauntlet. Gabe Fizzle's going to fall, and Hammers, they are on the hunt. A nice block from I Love Joseph.
Oh no, downtown. Yep, kills him. Starting all over, goes, you're not getting away from me. Gets the ridiculous as well. I love the little call-outs, and Hellfire Brew just finishing him off. And starting all over, just taking 2 tower here. It's not a problem for him. And you can see now the turret's just falling by the wayside. Old School doesn't stand a chance. There goes 1 tower. And you can see T-Tigers just going on the aggression here. But starting all over, he's got his eyes set on the prize. He's got his eyes set on the Vein Crystal. But this might be a little bit of an overextension here coming out from Hammer's Velocity. If they just maybe targeted that crystal a little bit longer, they might just be able to end the game. But starting all over, I think he's still going to be able to do it. Picks up a double kill, and that's going to be it. That's going to be it, Tasty. Second game over with, and that will be Hammer's Velocity taking this one 2-1 currently with match point in their pocket.
Unbelievable performance from both starting all over and T-Tigers in this game. The start looked a little bit shaky because T-Tigers, like you said, got that disruption, but then Hammers overstayed, gave a couple kills over to I Love Joseph early on, but starting all over up in the lane, able to get his carry pants on 9-2-6, 6-1-9 for T-Tigers. A really dominating performance in this game. Game number 3. So getting themselves onto match point are Hammer's Velocity. Cloud9, I think you have to start looking at getting Starting All Over off of this Ringo. He has played it almost every single game in VISPRO. Force him to play something else because he has just looked unstoppable. Even in the first game they played, while they didn't get the win, Hammer's Velocity were able to still have a lot of good team fights, and Starting All Over's early game pressure with this Ringo just seems to be a little bit too much if Old School doesn't get the Adagio.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Will they ban it away? That's the question. I think Cloud9 have got no question at all now. Just ban it. Just ban it and then see what they've got up their sleeves. See what Starting All Over can play. We want to see him play more things, right? But he's been playing this Ringo, like you said, for the longest time now, and it's been working out. Yeah, maybe it just didn't work out in the first game. Maybe it was just warming up a little bit. But coming into these last 2 games, he's been on fire.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been quite an incredible matchup so far. I think the big surprise has really been Starting All Over in this entire tournament, Tasty.
I completely agree. I mean, the way that he's been able to play this Ringo, especially, but I really just think that Cloud9 need to take the chance, need to ban away that Ringo, especially because they're going to be on the B side. They don't have the opportunity to first pick it away from him, but force Starting All Over to show that he has that level of dominance with at least a second hero, because right now he hasn't had a reason to showcase anything else. And I feel like that's been one of the keys for Hammer's Velocity is Starting All Over getting that comfort pick.
Yeah, but it's one of those kind of very challenging circumstances because at least how he's going to play on the Ringo. It's something you can prepare for. Starting All Over has a very deep hero pool in the lane. He can play Vox, he can play, I've seen him play Adagio just as well as anybody. I've seen him play, obviously, he can play Kestrel. He can play almost anybody, but at the highest level, obviously, he has those core heroes, and it's not just a few heroes. It's about 4 or 5. And so to knock him off of Ringo, I think is important here because how strong Ringo is in this meta. But you have to make sure you don't set yourself up in a position where you give him Vox and then 2 other heroes they want for that comp. Because Vox is also very strong in the right circumstances. You're seeing Starting All Over play style of it just that much better than the rest of Cloud9. So with that though, guys, we are going to take a quick break. When we return, we will be getting into game number 4. And possibly the last game of the series if Hammer's Velocity can close this one out. I can't believe that we're at a point right now, game 4 being shut out, being closed out possibly by Hammer's Velocity. This is such a crazy turn of events to see this young, newly put together roster dominating so much. But here we are, and it is exciting for all of us. So we'll be right back after the break.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
Welcome back, everybody. Wow, I mean, what a series so far. 2 wins to Hammer's Velocity, 3 for them to clinch the victory. Can Cloud9 stop it? Tasty Bacon, what is going on here?
Oh, what's going on is that Starting All Over is asserting his dominance on the fold alongside T-Tigers and Chicken123. I was checking Twitter during the downtime there and saw a tweet from Dienzio. It just simply says, Starting All Over is just too good. And, well, that may be the case here. If he can continue this streak that he's on, well, then we may be looking at our champions for this split of VISPRO in just one more game.
Yeah, I have to imagine that they're going to Cloud9's got something up their sleeve to try to stop Starting. Jaws, what do you think that could possibly be?
I mean, coming into the game, like, what do Cloud9 need to do to pull this back? Ban Ringo is possibly something they should probably keep on the table, right? I think there's no excuse to not ban that hero. It's just been too influential in the series, and I think it's just in the tournament in general. You were saying a bit earlier that Starting All Over is just pretty much exclusively played that hero. So kind of banning that away is probably their first step to success.
I agree. I think it's at least worth a shot, even if you feel like on paper maybe it doesn't make sense. You know, everything else you've tried hasn't worked, and you've got one last shot. It's a risky experiment to test out and say, hey, we have a better idea how to handle the Ringo, and we just weren't thinking about it before. I think that ultimately banning it, it's a knee-jerk reaction, but you got 2 bans. So, you know, you've got another chance to ban another hero that you might be worried about. It doesn't just have to be, one ban on one hero in this case. So I think that it's worth a shot looking at banning the Ringo. We'll see if that's how this all plays out in just a few moments. But, you know, ultimately, this has really been a Starting All Over show. He's been coming in here really strong. That first loss in Game 1, you know, we saw he got behind and he was really countered early, but they've stuck to this team composition that's worked. Starting All Over actually tweeted as well, saying they keep giving me Ringo. I think that, you know, when you're a professional player and you know the best chances you have to win are with a certain hero, you have to pick that hero every single time. And right now, it just seems like Ringo is in a spot specifically for Starting where he's going to keep winning if you keep giving him that hero. And I think, Tasty, that's something that Cloud9 really just needs to look at. But there is a bigger macro look at how the composition was being played by Hammer's Velocity. As soon as they kind of went for a little more poke, it seemed like it helped them a little bit. Obviously, the Samuel was definitely a good pickup.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see if T-Tigers can get that same level of aggression, because, you know, while we're talking about his Starting All Over, it feels like, yeah, and deservedly so, T-Tigers still had a phenomenal game that last match as well, and if he can get rolling in the jungle, well, then you have 2 threats you need to worry about. And, you know, so many times we see T-Tigers enable Starting All Over to have these incredible score lines and to carry from the safety of those backlines, because T-Tigers is such a threat that he needs to be focused as well. So for Hammer's Velocity, they're just going to look to continue playing their game, playing their style. Cloud9, I feel like they really need to either up their aggression even further to try and match Hammer's Velocity, or just pick themselves a composition that they can hold off that aggression early on with and be able to win out in the late game like they really like to do. But the Hammer's Velocity does not make that option easy.
They don't. Well, we'll be getting into this game in just a few moments as the draft round wraps up here. I do want to take a few moments to just talk to all you, the viewers, just to let you know that although this is the final for Split 1 in Vainglory, we will be coming back to you guys this weekend with a COPS tournament. It's going to be casted and hosted by myself and Tasty Bacon this Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific and Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific. The top COPS teams in North America coming out and duking it with, of course, a lot on the line for these teams. This is going to be the second COPS tournament that VIS has hosted, so you guys are not going to want to miss that. With that, we are about to get ready into this game. So, guys, real quickly, what is Cloud9? We're talking about what Cloud9 needs to do. What does Hammer's Velocity need to do to ensure that they secure this victory? Tasty, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, there's the option of trying to focus on to just a single target and just blow them up immediately. That's one of the common strategies for dealing with a team that has this prolific kind of carry that we do see here. But it's going to be a tough one either way. These two teams are, despite the fact that the final scores and games have felt fairly one-sided by the end of them, these two teams are incredibly evenly matched.
They are. Jaws, any quick things, you just looking at Hammer's velocity, if this is the game they win, what do you think they're going to do? What's their strategy?
I mean, play the same way they've been playing for the last 2 games. Just don't repeat game 1. Make sure starting all over is protected, and then go from there. Just lock in some heavy CC in both the roamer and the jungler, and then just push your advantages like they have been doing. And I think just go on the hyper aggression. Obviously, you can see the pig and bans coming through very, very fast, however. And guess what's banned away? Ringo's banned away. So we're going to see starting all over, going straight onto the Vox, which is going to be extremely interesting to see.
Yeah, the pedal coming out for T-Tigers as well. This is what's been banned away from T-Tigers a couple times. They even banned it away themselves, but T-Tigers very well known for his pedal. But on the flip side, Gwen for Old School and Taka for I Love Joseph. This is the signature pick for I Love Joseph coming up here with this Taka. If he can get rolling, he is going to absolutely carry this game, because that is just what I Love Joseph does with Taka.
Yeah, we'll see if he can do that. We're going to jump straight into it all. And like you mentioned, I want to see T-Tigers on this petal. And it's a really interesting pick, plus a really oppressive pick it can be as well against unorganized teams. And we'll see if they can make it work. It looks like both of them, both Hammers, Vossi and Cloud9 are going to kind of aggress it on each other here, but I think Cloud9 do have the upper advantage in the early stages of the game. Vizzle just putting out all that CC, and you can see T-Tigers getting rooted there as well. I love Joseph putting out a lot of damage onto T-Tigers. T-Tigers is actually just going to fall their first blood, and that last hit goes over to Vizzle. So already taking that first blood gold. We'll see what they can do with it.
Yeah, first blood gold. While it's not a game-changing amount, it is still every little advantage you can get does help. Vizzle going to be sticking around up here in the lane, just trying to make anything happen if possible. But down in the jungle, you got to keep an eye on I Love Joseph and Old School actually rotating with him. Means that Old School is going to get a bit of that extra passive gold. This is something we've seen a couple of teams start to adapt to, of moving both carries together in the jungle.
Yeah, moving it. We'll just make sure they're safe, right? And I think that's the kind of main aim for them there, just making sure they're safe in this very fragile early stages of the game. However, Vizzle decides, you know what, I'm going to disrupt that a little bit. Chicken123 and starting all over are up in the lane now, however. Same with Old School. Nice double root from Vizzle. And Getty and Wall there as well to follow up. Old School, he's got something to deal with in the form of minions. And I Love Joseph is going to come up as well. And when do you think... Well, what do you think, in fact, I Love Joseph is going to build? Because I've heard a lot about this tension bow build, the kind of one-shot kind of burst build. Do you reckon he's going to go this, or more of a sustained route in terms of damage?
The thing is, it's so up in the air. There's been so many Taka builds that have happened, even just over the history of Vainglory. But just on a couple patches ago, we had the tension crown build be the thing to do, into then the tension shock build, or the storm shock, whatever you want to call it, the on hit build we've had, and then right now it looks like he is going to be going for that storm crown. So I would not be surprised at all if we do end up seeing the storm crown into a aftershock, just to get that, very similar to the glaive builds that we have been seeing, just to allow some crystal damage. But right now up in the lane, actually a big fight.
Gwen, my goodness, that damage early on is just so nasty, and you can see it starting all over. It is going to get taken out there, and just the CC follow-up from Vizzle is going to maybe result in another kill. It does. Old School picking up 2 there off the back of that one, and Chicken123 just disrespecting Vizzle's cooldowns a little bit there, and you can even see I Love Joseph going fairly aggressive here, using the chitin to kind of get in amongst the things. And Old School just kiting back now. But the problem is, Chicken has spawned. He is going to move himself down. But that stealth coming out from the Taka is really going to help him. And these long extended fights are only going to help Hammer's velocity right now. You can see Gabe Vizzle going down really low, and I Love Joseph as well. They are just going to be able to pick up a kill, and they've just completely overstayed this one, Tasty. And now Gabe Vizzle using the Githium wall, and using the Lance to get over the Impale, but it's not going to happen. That's going to be 2 kills now for Vox.
Yeah, absolutely just overstaying their welcome, which Hammer's Velocity may be at risk of doing here because I Love Joseph has respawned. Old School just going to be trying to do a little bit of preliminary damage, sealing away these camps, but that one does go over to Hammers, but now they have a fight.
No, they do have a fight. They're going to jump on Old School. They're going to find the kill. Chicken123 is going to pick up that one. I Love Joseph's going really low. The Impale does come out. Nice Githium wall, though. I Love Joseph is falling. Meanwhile, obviously, Petal did go down. Crystal Miner is going to help them out as well. And I don't think Chicken is long for this world. He ends up getting picked up by I Love Joseph, who's finally picked up his first kill of the game. And that was an exact mirror that pretty much happened like 2 seconds ago, it seems like. Both teams just completely overstaying their bounds.
Yeah, meanwhile, though, up in the lane, starting all over, does sacrifice himself, but gets the turret. 1 kill for a turret, 100% worthwhile for the side of Hammer's Velocity. So, starting all over, he's going to be more than happy to get that one.
Yeah, more than happy indeed. And having that turret down will obviously open the map up just a little bit more for Hammer's Velocity. So, we'll see what they can do. We'll see what they can do with that kind of pressure. And you can just see now they are just going to wander towards this gold miner. Same with Cloud9. They do look like they want to start it up. Someone wants to start it. Someone wants to get that nice, tasty gold bounty. Not build up too much yet, so I can't imagine Cloud9 are going to commit too many resources to it.
Yeah, not at all. They were kind of just starting up just in case a fight broke out. They could then back off and try and get the gold miner to be attacking their opponents, but it doesn't happen. However, they're going to be finding T-Tigers and Chicken. They decide to go after Chicken.
No, they do not. They actually decide to go after Petal. T-Tigers just getting absolutely annihilated. However, doesn't mean to say they aren't going to pick up a couple of kills of their own. I Love Joseph is going to go down. Double kill for the Petal. T-Tigers has completely turned this one around. Gabe Vizzle is going to go down as well. No kill for starting all over, but that's going to be a kill going straight over to Chicken123. He's going to get his revenge, and they've completely swung the gold lead around there, Tasty, and they're actually 1k ahead now with 6 and 6 kills to boot.
Yeah, and it looked like just, I don't know, Cloud9 not expecting the level of damage to come out of Hammer's Velocity because they were the ones that engaged the fight. They were the ones that wanted it, and all of a sudden, they started to get onto Chicken, swapped their focus to T-Tigers when he came in, but starting all over was able to just take out Old School extremely quickly when Old School tried to rotate down to join the fight. And just like that, like you said, quick kills for Hammers and a gold lead for them as well. It's now been diminished right back down to being dead even, but it's got to be that confidence boosting for Hammer's Velocity after losing out on a few kills early on. Getting a couple of their own really does go a long way towards helping the team's morale stay high, but we're going to be having a big skirmish.
I wonder how the morale is going to end up after this one. I Love Joseph using that X-Res just to jump on the entire team of Hammer's Velocity. What a massive mistake that was, but Old School putting down a lot of damage though. Starting all over, you've got to keep your eye on him as he just ends up getting deleted. I take that completely back. And Cloud9 turning this one on its head, just kind of focusing that Petal in the midst of that team fight, enabling her to go down, which will mean Chicken123 does activate the gauntlet. Will he be able to trade the kill? He will in the end. Gabe Vizzle, the last member of remaining. He will, however, pick up the ace buff, so that's going to be a nice little push for his minions onto that tower, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to take it alone.
Well, Old School getting back here in time to maybe help try and push for this, but with starting all over being there, they know they have the risk of T-Tigers being there as well. They're just going to let those ace buff minions go down. T-Tigers able to secure that treant. And it's kind of funny seeing these junglers just actually bypass their back camps just to get that mid-treant before it gets stolen, because everyone knows that's what your opposition is going to be looking to do, is try and rotate in to your jungle, grab that forward treant, and then back out. But T-Tigers making the adjustment in order to secure his own camp. Now trying to go aggressive onto the opponents, but not going to be finding anything there either. And so we just kind of end up with another little stalemate here. Gabe Vizzle clearing out this vision. And looks like Hammers are going to back off and concede that area of the map to them for now.
Yeah, we'll see if they do want to do that in the future, because the problem is now Hammer's Velocity having that tower down in that top side is going to mean they're going to have a lot of pressure opened up for them. But I Love Joseph's going to try and make something of this. The nice Githian wall to stun up I think at least 2 of the members starting all over got stunned up, but it doesn't matter. I Love Joseph is going to pick up 1 kill. In fact, that's going to go over to Old School, but now they might be able to turn this one around as I Love Joseph just getting tagged so heavily. And here comes Old School. His health bars are just going to get chunked. T-Tigers is going to manage to pick up that kill. And starting all over is in the front line yet again, using that invisibility perfectly. I Love Joseph just comes back in for the re-engage. And meanwhile, Gabe Vizzle is just going to be able to finish off the petal there as well. Cloud9, they're going to even it up once again.
And that's the really difficult thing about playing against I Love Joseph on this Taka. He'll get into a fight, do a ton of damage, and then narrowly escape. And as long as he gets out, if he doesn't get popped, he can use that Kaku to heal himself back up just enough to make that re-engage and take the fight in favor of Cloud9. 12-9 on the kills now, about a 2,000 gold lead for C9, but they're going to be looking for more.
They're going to be looking for more. That X-Retsu being used straight onto Chicken 123, and he's just going to fall. Pretty much gets deleted there by Old School. Gwen, such a powerful pick. And with the cooldown of Aces High just coming up now, I mean, if T-Tigers and Old School, and starting all over want to aggress on this one, they're going to be met with a bit of demise, I feel. And that gold payout is going to be pretty big. As, oh my god.
All over stall it with the wait for it.
Oh, I completely missed that. And he did steal it, but he's going to pay for it with his life, I believe. Gwen is going to be able to pick up that skill. Old School, that came out of nowhere. I was sure that Cloud9 had that.
And was almost a sure thing. There was no vision of it either. And that was a blind wait for it that he threw out to get the steal. And now Hammers, they are paying for that steal dearly. They are going to be losing out on this turret, but that was an incredible play from starting all over.
Parting all over. They are just going to kind of fall. Well, he's going to fall by the wayside there as Hammer's Velocity are just kind of etching behind now, and I think this is going to be a big problem for them if they keep getting soloed out here. Bry, I Love Joseph. I mean, that's going to be the kind of crux to their defeat, I think. The ability, like you mentioned before, to just kind of re-engage has just been so strong for them. They pick up 1 kill, they may trade 1, but having that re-engage from I Love Joseph completely out of nowhere and using those war trades to such great effect. You can see here, they're just going straight onto Chicken. However, I Love Joseph has just been targeted out completely at the start of this fight, but the re-engage comes through, and T-Tigers even is going to end up going down, and yet again, I Love Joseph is going to go straight on top of starting all over. He's ending up trading his own life, but realistically, that ace is going to come in mighty handy for Cloud9.
Yeah, this is going to be this tier 2 turret getting destroyed, and I Love Joseph. He is so incredibly aggressive on this Taka, and it looked like he was going to go down about halfway through that fight, but somehow manages to keep himself alive and keep himself relevant in the fight. It's not even like he's getting taken down really low and then just running away and hiding and waiting for a chance to go back in. He's in the thick of things with like a sliver of health and still able to keep fighting and find kills for the team. 5, 4, and 6 on the Taka. You can see he's been the one heavily on the front lines. 8, 4, and 7 for Old School. He's been having a great game on this Gwen as well. They've been doing a great job of shutting down, starting all over. 3, 6, and 5. He just has not been able to get rolling the same way we had seen him do on the Ringo pick in the previous games.
Yeah, that rolling is definitely going to be, I think, big problem for them that they're going to have to look for in the next game. I mean, there goes the gold mine. A decent payout, 170 each. Not something to be scoffed at, but those infusions are going to get picked up left, right, and center for Cloud9. I think they're going to try and make another engage. Chicken getting stunned up there, but I Love Joseph yet again on the back line. Does get taken really low. The gauntlet does come out. Actually stunned up I Love Joseph. It's not going to matter. Chicken does fall. T-Tigers will follow, and that will be starting all over. Finally going down, possibly. They're just trying to chase him. Ex-Retsu finally finishing him off, and Cloud9, this is all of their game to win, I think.
Yeah, they get that third turret. They're very likely going to take one of these crystal turrets, but then you need to be wary of these respawns. They may look to end the game if they can find another fight, but there looks like they're on full retreat mode, just getting out of the base. Only one turret remaining now for them as we hit this 14-minute mark, just 1 minute away from Kraken. Cloud9, you got to figure that they're going to be willing to just wait that minute out for Kraken to spawn and look to try and end the game that way. But the amount of burst they have, they are just breaking right through Chicken 123. You know, the tank of the team, he's just melting in these fights. He's getting jumped on immediately. The team is not afraid to go after him.
Yeah, and exactly what's happening right now. Gabe Vizzle is just going to roll over the wall. Does get the nice Githian on at T-Tigers. He's just going to get exploded on, but he's just not going to go down just yet. Starting all over, does get the regen there from the Chalice on. Holy moly, that was a lot of damage. Old School just completely obliterates starting all over. And you can see Petal just died somewhere in the back line there to I Love Joseph. And I think that is going to be at least that Kraken is going to spawn in the next 10-15 seconds or so. And realistically, I'm not sure there's anything Hammer's Velocity right now can do about this game.
Old School may have just made one of the best plays I've seen in quite some time. The Githian wall stunned up T-Tigers into the wall right at the entrance to the Hammer's base. Old School threw out an Aces High that looked like it was going to be off the mark when he first threw it, but it was a complete prediction. As soon as the stun wore off on T-Tigers from the Githian wall, he activated the trampoline to try and jump away and got drilled by the prediction Aces High.
And that is the perfect skill shot to end the game, or at least end that team fight at least. I Love Joseph is going to go back in on this one. T-Tigers on that Petal is just have no impact in this game whatsoever. Ridiculous indeed, as they do pick up another 2 kills. Cloud9 just running away with this one. I'm not sure there's much else to say about this, apart from sheer really annihilation coming out from them. Do they really need to take the Kraken at this point? Really, this is just an insurance policy.
Well, because there is still one member up, even though it is the Arden, getting the Kraken is just the safer option here. Their minions were also not really close to pushing into the base, so by the time they got there, it would have been a little bit risky. You know, it very likely wouldn't have stopped them from being able to close out the game, but they want to just be safe about it because they are on their backs against the wall. You know, this is set point, championship point for Hammer's Velocity, but it is looking like just about a sure thing at this point now that we are going to have a Game 5 because Cloud9 have been all over Hammer's Velocity here in game number 4.
Yeah, they really have, and I'm not sure they can do anything, but they're going to at least try. They're going to try and fend off this ever-relenting attacks coming out from Cloud9. That Kraken isn't a mean feat to take down, and you can see Old School now just following up with so much damage. Those Munions didn't stand really a chance, did they? They're just kind of on the floor, minding their own business. They get absolutely destroyed. The Kraken is going to knock one last time on that crystal base. That will be the turret going down. I think that'll be the vein crystal going down as well. Gauntlet not doing all too much, and that will be, you are completely correct, Tasty Bacon, that will be a Game 5 coming up very soon.
At the end there, I Love Joseph just ignoring the fight, saying, hey, I have an Aftershock and a Storm Crown. Let's just take out this turret and get the crystal. Get us into game number 5. Cloud9, what a series this is between these two teams. Hammer's Velocity, you know, on the verge, dropping game number 1, but coming back, winning the next 2. And now Cloud9 evening the series up at 2 games apiece. We don't know who is going to be able to take the championship here because these teams are just back and forth constantly. The one thing that I think we can safely say is that it is going to be a very entertaining finish to these championships.
Yeah, everybody, that is just, wow. Game number 5, you don't get those all the time in best of 5s, and when you do, it's because you've got two very closely even competitors, and Cloud9 and Hammer's Velocity are just impressing me with how toe-to-toe they go. I wish we had replay, because I'd love to show you a clip, and I don't know if Jaws or Tasty, if you saw this, where both T-Tigers and I Love Joseph, there was this fight right at the top of the mustache bush, and they were both down to like 2 health, but they were still fighting and finding ways to stay alive until one of them went down. These two teams are just so closely matched. It's really incredible.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it shows, right? We go to a game 5. They are so close to winning this. Either one of these teams, it's going to take one last game to sort it out. Yeah, Absolutely. Definitely.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we are going to be getting into the last matchup of tonight. It is going to be game 5, and it is winner takes it all. So, just a few more minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after these few messages.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are getting ready for the final matchup of tonight. It is Game 5 between Cloud9 and Hammer's Velocity. This is going to be it. This is going to be the match everyone's been waiting for, the deciding factor. And you know what? What a better way to end this first split of the winter season with the Game 5 final. So joining me tonight, it is Tasty Bacon and Jaws. And Jaws, we just came hot off that game number 4. We are hyped here, but this is crazy. Cloud9 winning game 1, losing 2 in a row, and then coming back here for game number 4. We saw all the things that they did wrong, given starting over Ringo. The first game they take Ringo away, they win. Let's talk about really what happened. Break down some of the things that stood out to you.
Yeah, there's some of the major things that stood out is just the sheer hyper aggression coming out from Hammer's Velocity. I mean, they every time they find a fight, we mentioned it during the cast actually. Every time they go for a fight, if they don't get a kill, they'll go for something else. They'll siege a tower. They'll make sure the minion wave's pushed up and then go invade the jungle. They're always doing something that's really aggressive. And I think Cloud9 just kind of, even if they do ban away the Ringo, they still just kind of crumble just a little bit under that pressure. But I mean, this could be the catalyst here. I mean, we did obviously see starting all over, not on Ringo this time, as it was banned away for the first time in the best of 5 against him, and he was forced on the Vox, and that's just didn't really have an impact at all. And I want to see Cloud9 really do that again, just kind of shut down these power picks and then take it from there.
Yeah, there were a few times it felt like maybe Hammer's Velocity overextended or overstayed. We saw that actually from both teams a little bit, right? Throughout these series of both teams looking to try to get that edge and be very aggressive. And Cloud9 maybe taking that under-aggression theme a little too personally and trying to counter that by saying, no, we can be as aggressive as Hammer's Velocity. Because there were definitely times with Hammer's Velocity, especially in this last game, they were staying a little bit too long, or they were overextending, trying to make a play, trying to get the kill, starting over really desperate. Didn't have quite the range that he has with Ringo, right? So it's a little bit different play style. That definitely helped for Cloud9, right? Starting over on a different hero, even though he was still pretty good at it, still allowed Cloud9 to come up with a victory. And I think that's something you're going to see. They're probably going to ban the Ringo away again because that worked for Cloud9.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, Ringo, you just don't ban it. You just have to ban it away, right? There's no if and or buts about it. As soon as you do, I mean, starting players forced on something else, and then he's shown us his Vox wasn't too impactful. Just kind of got jumped on over and over again. And but I will be interested to see actually if I Love Joseph is going to go on the Taka again.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how successful he was on that. I mean, we've been seeing Joseph play a Cruel. We saw him play a Sky. Different types of play styles. He can play everything, but yeah, when you saw him on the Taka, it was a whole different player. I mean, just pure confidence. It's definitely one of his comfort picks, and one that I think that he really feels he can turn the game around for him and his teammates on a moment's notice. So with that, we're about ready to finish up the draft here. Actually, just a few more picks left, and we'll be getting in. But this is exciting, man. This is game number 5 in this best of 5. So it all comes down to this. I'm just checking to see if Tasty Bacon joined us. Tasty, welcome back.
Well, I've been here.
Oh, okay. I was muted. I was like, is he, taking a quick one? But yeah, I mean,
I've been here. You guys were having an excellent conversation. I didn't want to interrupt, and just getting ready for this game 5.
Well, let's talk about what you expect to see in game 5. What really needs to happen for either one team. Pick one thing that stands out to you from Cloud9. I mean, for them to come back into this, is it really just the Ringo ban, or was there something else that helped Cloud9 to secure game 4?
I do think it was a combination of banning the Ringo, forcing starting all over to have to play something else. Because even though we talked earlier about how he's incredibly talented on really any pick he wants, the Ringo was still clearly his priority pick. It was clearly the pick that they were putting a lot of emphasis on, and so you had to get him off of that. But I also think the Taka pick was a really big factor in that win for the side of Cloud9. And as we do see the bans come out here, immediately was the Ringo and Adagio banned away. Neither of these two lane carries going to get to play those signature heroes. But the Gwen, once more, I'm a little surprised, though, that Cloud9 did pick up the Petal. They had the option to get the Taka and run the exact same composition, but they switch it up. They take the Petal from T-Tigers, even though T-Tigers really didn't have much impact on the pedal at all in game number 4. I Love Joseph saying, you know what, I think I can do better with this hero. We'll see if that's the case.
Yeah, we will indeed. And with T-Tigers on that Koshka as well, it's not something we've seen him, in this series at least, pull out. I mean, he's pulled it out.
It has been banned away.
It's been banned
almost every game, I believe.
Yeah, so maybe this is the time, right? This is the time where he pulls it out and he does pull out some incredible yummy catnip frenzies and just to secure Old School's life, right?
The other interesting thing for me is Chicken123 taking a page out of Gabe Vizel's book and going to be rocking the Finn onto the fold. Here we go, though. Game number 5 underway. Cloud9 looking to go aggressive into the enemy jungle. Does get spotted by a flare from Chicken, and immediately, starting all over, makes the rotation to go steal away their backs. So this could actually work out quite well for Hammers.
Yes, really could. This small gold advantage really could mean something. Old School actually with a really late rotation here is only just going to meet up with the rest of him, but T-Tiger's actually going to get stunned up on that Koshka, and she's actually just going to go down. First blood straight over to Old School already. It's been not even 1 minute, and they've already got 1 kill, and it goes straight onto the person they needed it to go onto as well in the form of Old School.
And not only that, but starting all over, taking already 2 camps. He's going to grab a 3rd as well before going back up to this lane. So even though he's not farming up the lane minions, he's still going to be okay. As Old School is just trying to shove this lane into the turret, but T-Tigers rotating up. Now they can, if T-Tigers had been ready, they could have collapsed onto Old School with starting all over, rotating back. But I don't think T-Tigers was just anticipating that enough.
Yeah, I mean, starting all over, he was super out of position, but yeah, realistically, unless Cloud9 knew he was there, they weren't actually going to be able to do anything at all. Old School is, however, going to push starting all over underneath his tower. Vox, obviously, not doing it all too well against Old School, especially with Gabe Vizel's just kind of sitting around as well, but Chicken is going to be here also. Chicken123 on this Finn, like you said, pulling something out of Gabe Vizel's book. We'll see if it can work for him.
And this Lance has been another one of those picks that's been very important in this series thus far. A lot of priority being put onto that in the game of trying to find picks. But right now, can they get one here?
Old School is alone in this lane right now, and Polite Company is going to slow him up, but he's actually just going to trade a little bit of damage over. And meanwhile, however, Lance is just going to pick up, himself up a kill there. T-Tigers ends up going down. Gabe Vizel picking up one for himself in the jungle there. T-Tigers maybe overextending just a little bit, and it looks like another little fight or skirmish, I'd say, coming out. Gabe Vizel going really low there. And you can see starting all over just with the sheer aggression is going to come up to him, but they're just going to back away from each other.
Yeah, starting all over in Chicken123, predicting the movement there of Cloud9, but not able to find a kill. Does keep them out of their side of the jungle, though, so that's the good news there. But 2 kills here early on for Cloud9. They're going to be pretty happy with that. A slight gold advantage as a result of those 2 kills. But starting all over, able to get this farm in the lane, keeping the CS close, actually a slight advantage for him. But that's going to be just evaporated right now with Old School farming up the last of that wave. We're down in the jungle. You see T-Tigers stealing away this Treant, just trying to find any sort of advantages he can because he really needs to. Those 2 deaths. I Love Joseph having the 2 assists on both of those kills. That's the one saving grace for T-Tigers, that I Love Joseph doesn't have the kills there, but it's still going to be something they need to be wary of.
Yeah, Chicken's just going to get out of there. Polite Company is going to be used, but he does actually just get straight up murdered in that lane. And you can see, starting all over, not with the items yet to just follow up with some damage. In Old School and Gabe Vizel, they are just going to perform they are just going to act like a big front line for starting all over, just not making sure he just can't pass. And with the item shop spawning with the gold miner as well, they are just going to be able to just get some nice little items instead of going all the way back to base, which again is just going to kind of accelerate their growth. And they've done this over the last couple of games. They just take control of this early game, and when they do, it just doesn't seem like Hammer's Velocity knows what to do.
Yeah, when they play from behind, they definitely do seem to struggle a little bit. When they play from ahead, Hammer's Velocity don't generally relinquish that lead, but Cloud9, you can kind of say the same thing for them. Once they get ahead in the game, they really don't allow many openings for their opponents.
Well, I don't know about that. We'll see if this is an opening. Hammer's Velocity actually just picking up a kill there, in fact. And you can see Old School is going to finish a nice chunk of items as well, and he's going to be so strong in this current time. And T-Tiger's going really low there, does end up leaping away to the Treant there. He's just going to be able to escape, it looks like.
Oh!
No, he's not. He actually just gets executed. I'm so surprised that here, Old School. They take the words out of my mouth there, and even starting all over, it's just going to run away here. Not going to chase him down too quickly. Obviously, they know Chicken's going to spawn soon. And what was that kill from Old School there?
Yeah, Buckshot Bonanza just catching, starting all over at the end, or was it, sorry, T-Tigers, not starting all over, but it does a massive amount of burst, especially with that Sorrow Blade being completed this early on in the game. And was able to catch T-Tigers before he got to the healing from that Treant that he had just killed. So, nice job there by Old School, getting the 5th kill of the game for Cloud9. That's a pretty sizable advantage on the kills, about 1,000 gold lead on the scoreboard as well in favor of Cloud9, and they can keep this sort of pressure up, just continue finding these pick-off kills onto Hammer's Velocity. We could be looking at our new VISPRO champions for the split.
Yeah, we could indeed. And with those 5 kills in the lead as well, with a 1.5k gold lead, they are surely looking to just cement their lead going forwards. And I can just see this is going to be a really extremely tough time for Tigers. T-Tigers even. He isn't really early game jungler, right? And that's such a problem for him, just being this far behind. He's 0-3 at this current time, Tasty.
Yeah, the Koshka movement speed, her ability to jump in, get damage done, get out, and then re-engage is one of her big strengths, but it's going to be very difficult to do that against this composition that Cloud9 have, with the Petal having Frostburn completed, the Lance with so much CC, the Gwen having slows as well. It's so tough to navigate through a team fight and use that movement speed to your advantage, especially when you're behind in items. T-Tigers, 7 minutes in, just finishing off his first tier 3 item, getting that Shatterglass, so that will help out quite a bit, but don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, that Shatterglass, like you said, it's going to be a big buy for him, but being able to get on top of someone on Cloud9 is going to be the problem, I feel. You can see there, Chicken trying his best. He isn't even level 6 yet, so he doesn't even have Forced Accord, which I think is going to be kind of a big problem, realistically, coming forward. You can see him just trying to use Polite Company just for a little bit of harass, but it's just nothing he can do.
Yeah, he's about to hit level 6, actually just hit level 6. But you look in the inventories of the side of Cloud9, all 3 members have a reflex block. Obviously, they're going to want to be able to block the Forced Accord, but then they still have the Yummy Cat and Frenzy to worry about. So that's the one concern for Cloud9, is being able to block all of that CC. Once Gabe Vizzle gets a Crucible, they're going to have a much better time of that, because the Crucible can just be used on the Forced Accord, and then whichever carry gets targeted by the Yummy Cat and Frenzy will be able to use their own reflex block to stop that.
Yeah, they will indeed, and it does look like they actually just want to go a little bit aggressive here. Chicken 1-3 almost gets stunned up. Githian Wall does come out, however, and now T-Tigers is going to go in. However, 3 reflex blocks are going to be popped just before Yummy Catnip goes off, which means she's just going to jump on one of them at least, and that will be a kill going over to starting all over, but it is going to be traded straight up. Gabe Vizzle is going to be able to pick up T-Tigers. There's going to be 1-for-1 trade, and looks like they're not done yet. Forced Accord is not going to be there, and well, that's going to be it, really. I mean, Chicken 1-2-3 just providing the massive amount of CC that they needed, and the reflex block timing there was just not on point for Cloud9.
Yeah, absolutely not. Starting all over, though, they may be looking to try and engage onto this, but I Love Joseph needs to be careful. Use that spontaneous combustion to stay alive, and Gabe Vizzle will get the kill.
Oh, he does manage to pick up that one, and Chicken123 is going to get engaged on as well. Those resistances to movement impairing effects really working out for him well, but doesn't mean to say he's not going to go down, and Old School is going to be able to pick up one of those kills, meaning he is 3-1-4 on this Gwen right now. Just such an impressive force, and you can see here how much defense and how much protection he's got. He's not afraid to set up to T-Tigers, which is incredibly, well, it's kind of annoying for him because T-Tigers not had the biggest impact.
And it's always fun to see these heroes that you don't expect to get picked up get not only played, but also have a massive impact. I mean, Gwen in 2.0, she was the lane carry. Everyone pretty much at the high level was unanimous in that Gwen was the strongest laner in the game. And 2.1 nerfs hit her, and I saw so many comments that said, well, rip Gwen, she's done for now, but Old School showing that there's definitely some life left there.
Yeah, and you can see the Crucible going off as well, just to make sure everybody is going to be protected. That will mean that the Hammer's Velocity are just going to have to stave off their assault. And you can see now, even now, that they are 3k gold behind. They are still trying to go aggressive, and that just speaks to their team and how they play as a unit as well. Just always want to go on the aggression no matter how far they are behind. But to be honest with you, in the last couple of fights, it's just been to their detriment.
Yeah, and they need to recognize that they are behind in gold. You know, they don't have quite as much item power on their side for these fights. As right now, it's Cloud9 looking to go aggressive.
They're going to go really aggressive there, but that tight corridor going up against Chicken123, they're not going to be able to get through him, let alone get on the back line of Hammer's Velocity. However, doesn't mean to say they aren't going to go aggressive here. Gabe Bizzle does get the route down onto the Koshko. No, onto starting all over. Even does manage to back off. That's going to be a nice reflex box there coming out from T-Tiger. It's going to make her live just another couple of minutes longer at least, as she does end up backing off. She has got the ultimate available, so she can use that. Yummy Catnip Frenzy, however, does put you in such a vulnerable position in a team fight.
Yeah, especially if you don't get the stun that you're looking for. If it gets reflex blocked, you just end up in the middle of the enemy team with really no recourse for that action. However, Hammer's Velocity, this aggression they're putting out in the lane, constantly shoving up the lane, it is preventing Cloud9 from doing this gold mine. They've kind of tried to look towards the gold mine multiple times now, but every time they try and start it up, a couple of members from Hammers are pushing in the lane hard, which forces Cloud9 to have to react and move up there, because if they try and stick on the gold mine, Hammers are just going to answer with a turret, and that's arguably more worthwhile than the gold miner right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And Chicken now just getting aggressed on. He is going to end up getting picked up there. I Love Joseph picks up that kill. And with Cloud9 just re-engaging here, starting all over, ends up going down for the double kill coming through for I Love Joseph. T-Tigers not long for this world either. Old School is just chasing her down. Reflex Bog does activate. Yummy Catnip Frenzy not doing anything. Ace coming through for Cloud9, with Old School picking up the third and final kill. Cloud9 running away with this one. Tasty, I think we've got our new winners. I mean, I'm not sure there's anything they could do right now to throw this one.
Well, I mean, there's always the possibility. You never want to underestimate a Vainglory player's ability to throw a game. That is one thing that Humanist has taught us all very well. But it is going to be difficult, extremely difficult, for Hammer's Velocity to get back into this game. It really does feel like this is Cloud9's game to lose, and that the best way for Hammers to get back in this game would be a large mistake from Cloud9, because, like you said it, they're so far behind. The infusions are starting to come out. We saw one timeout on the side of Cloud9. The level 10 infusion just picked up for starting all over. T-Tigers getting his infusion as well. So Hammers, they're kind of throwing out that last-ditch effort here. If they cannot win a fight with these infusions up, then they are pretty much going to be out of this game entirely. But now that the side of Cloud9 knows those infusions were picked up, I wouldn't be surprised if they go and get their own. Old School picks one up, and I would assume I Love Joseph is going to try and get one off of the gold mine. Gold, but very nearly another wait for it steal from I Love Joseph. T-Tigers, though, he's in trouble.
T-Tigers, what is he doing that far up? He does manage to get the turret, however. He is just going to go down, and if they can just continue this assault on the Hammer's Velocity lineup. I mean, they can get a clean ace here, but it doesn't look like Starting All Over is going to be able to get out of dodge pretty easily. However, Chicken can't say much for him, however. It does end up going down to Gabe Bizzle. You can see down in the bottom side there, Starting All Over is going to get the recall off. No ace buff coming through for Cloud9. However, taking 2 members with them isn't going to be such a bad thing, as they'll end up with a bit of extra gold in their pocket. They're going to take away the fronts as well from Hammer's Velocity. I can't imagine they're going to stop there as well. That turret is probably next on the menu.
Yeah, T-Tigers, again, sacrificing himself to get that turret down. Just trying to get any influx of gold that they can. At least they didn't lose another turret as a result of that. Thankfully for the side of Hammers, Starting Over was able to get himself out to safety. But Cloud9 really just firmly in the driver's seat here. 15 minutes in, Kraken spawns. Cloud9, they want to just go for this immediately. Here comes Hammers, though. They're going to have to try and stop this or look for a fight or something, but it is looking like a dire situation.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 just stick on this now. They commit. They just go full commit to it. They might as well. I mean, realistically, what can Hammer's Velocity do? They can try and steal it, or they can try and go for the tier 2. I think you just stick on this Kraken. It's going so low. Who's going to be able to get it away? And it will be Cloud9. And I think this is going to be it, Tasty. You have got another fight breaking out. Chicken is going to go down. He's in amongst 3 of them. There's no way he survives that one at all. T-Tigers, he's going to be able to get that tower, yes. And the minions are pushing, obviously meaning that the rest of Cloud9 are just going to have to stick behind this Kraken. The problem is, Gwen's obviously brought it back. She's picked up a couple of items. She's just going to come running down this lane. And with that Kraken on, with its sights on that turret, that's definitely not going to be long for this world.
Yeah, it does buy a little bit of time for Hammers to work on this Kraken without having to worry about a fight, because Cloud9 does want to wait for Old School to get here, but now that he is here, there they go.
Reflex Bog does come out nice from Starting All Over. However, like you said, Old School is here to put down the damage. That Gwen just doing so much work, and you can see their Petal just destroying Koshka. Cloud9, they're setting their sights on that Vein Crystal, Tasty, and I'm not sure those turrets are going to last long either. This is their last ditch effort, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it. Look at that Kraken's HP as well. They have to get through 3 members plus the Krakens. The Vein Crystal is going down. Cloud9, will they do it? I'm sure they'll be able to. That Kraken is going to probably take the last blow. 1, 2, 3, it's all over. Best of 5. What an incredible series it's been, and Cloud9 will take the victory.
Incredibly close at the end there. Hammer's Velocity very nearly saving the game, but even if they had stopped that push there, I don't think they would have been able to come back fully. Valiant effort from them in this 5th game. T-Tigers making a couple of pretty insane calls to go for the turrets, and kind of buying a little bit of extra time for Hammer's Velocity. But at the end of the full 5 games, it is Cloud9 that stand tall. This brand new roster, both of these teams debuting these brand new rosters here in VISPRO. They both organizations have to be happy with their performance, but Cloud9, they are the ones that get to reign supreme here today.
Yeah, that they do. And that's what a fantastic game to end it on as well. Just sheer dominance coming out from Cloud9, and I hope to see him again more, man. Like this, both these teams, in fact. I really, really can't wait until we actually get to see them clash it again, and have some nice rematches against people like TSM as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, really great game, everybody. I'm sorry if it's not that tasty. Thinking maybe there was a quick pause, but yeah, I mean, what a series. Last thoughts for you guys as we kind of wrap this up here. Again, congratulations to Cloud9. New roster, new look, and of course a victory. First time they actually have won a tournament here in VISPRO. But Jaws, man, first casting Vainglory here on VIS. First time casting Vainglory anywhere. You did a fantastic job. I just want to thank you for your time coming out here tonight.
Hey, no worries, man. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to cast with you guys sometime soon again. And man, these Vainglory games, I mean, it's kind of addicting casting these, honestly. It's just so much fun, and seeing these top tier teams as well is just something to behold.
Absolutely. Tasty, any last words for these victors here? Cloud9, I mean, what a series, being pushed all the way to Game 5 and coming back and winning it. Any last words?
I just got to say the future is looking very bright for both of these organizations with these brand new lineups they are bringing to the table. And I cannot wait to see them all compete again in not just Split 2, but then even looking forward to this next professional season as well. It's going to be incredibly exciting for North America. The level of competition just continues to rise.
It absolutely does. It's just this is going to be one of the most exciting years in esports for Vainglory. I'm really looking forward to it. For all the viewers that are coming out tonight, thank you so much. You made this first split of the winter season an absolute success. We want to, of course, thank our sponsors, Mob Crush, HyperX, Need for Seed, and Band. Without their support, we couldn't make this happen either. And of course, our staff here, our graphic designers, and our moderator doing a fantastic work here. And of course, the casters, you guys nailed it tonight. So with that, we are going to call it a night. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for some COPS tournaments that will be taking place 1 p.m. Pacific on both Saturday and Sunday, right before the Super Bowl kicks off. So you make sure you want to catch that. With that, good night. We'll see you guys later.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.